What's up, guys? Sorry I'm a little late. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes because I have to take my medicine and do a couple more things, but I figured I'll start it and let you guys come in. I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts about this. I just was reading somebody who commented saying that you're waiting all day to see what I thought. Yeah. I feel like since we don't know a lot of the information with this case, I feel like these documents are slowly giving us a little bit of a taste of what this case is all about. Like what did they have? And this one was very telling. If you kind of read in between the lines of what they're freaking saying, I'm worried, guys. I'm worried. Like, I feel like this was the first time that I'm sitting there, like, wondering if that's all they have now. Is that all they have? Is this freaking the stuff that we know? And I'll explain it why I'm thinking that. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably already realized because if you read the document, but some of you guys maybe didn't. Just a few things they said. It's just like, what? What? Like, I thought we were gonna. Do you guys hear that though? There's some neighbors that are freaking having some kind of party. And I just hope that's not that bad. But when Zeke starts barking, I hope he doesn't start barking. But do you hear? I'm sitting here, like, getting this stuff ready, trying to read this document, and I hear this, like, loud, like banging. And then I'm like, what is that banging? I don't even know what the banging was. It was like this loud knocking for probably like 5 minutes. And I'm like, what is going on out there? And then all of a sudden this music started. It sounds like a band because it's like bad. Like the vocals are are bad. They're not even that good. Do you guys hear that? I think it'll be all right because I don't think it'll be that loud. All right, hold on. I'm just getting everything ready. I hope it. Do you think it'll be all right, or is it going to be so annoying? We'll see. Anyway, all right. So, let me say hi to a couple of people. I just want to take my medicine, and then we'll start her up. So hopefully that won't be too distracting. Let me see who's all here. Hey, Lisa, Shellwash, Peyton. Yeah, right. Tammy Z, my brother. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you guys probably can't. It's actually pretty loud here, but the way that it's been going with that kind of stuff, you guys don't seem to hear it. So I think we'll be all right. I just hope Zeke doesn't start barking because he's been barking at it because he's like hearing this and he's like, what is this? People are like cheering and stuff. We can't figure out where it came from. Even when we're going outside, we're like, where is that coming from? Like, we can't see where it's coming from, but it's somewhere close, I think. I don't know. Hi, Debbie. Hey, Alibi. Gilly Gill in the house, Brooklyn. Oh, neighbors are watching. Good, Daff. Okay, so hold on. Let me take my medicine and let me, and we'll read it together and see what you guys think. And maybe if we actually have a few people that would want to come up and chat about it and not no, I understand if people aren't used to it. Like, hold on, let me just I don't know what it's. I don't want to like take my medicine on camera, but I'll still talk to you guys. But so yeah, I've been wanting to do an open panel for this case, but it, like, for instance, that last time I tried to open it up and nobody came except Shauna, but like she just came because she just, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, I don't know. That's understandable. I totally understand if you're scared, but hey, okay, so after this, I want to I'm trying to familiarize myself with Streamlabs, but instead of like, well, 1 second. One second, guys. You guys really don't hear that? It's that I wanna go. I don't even know who sings that. Carry me or something. I don't even know the words to that. I mean, you hear it all the time, but okay. You could tell they're just a cover band though. So it's actually a band. All right. right, let's do this. Hey Mark. Oh, okay, I didn't finish my story though. So what I was gonna say is I might oh, so I have my that other channel, Zavgirl live streams, which I haven't really done much with. So I was thinking while I'm learning the Streamlabs and I want to get to a point where I'm really good with it, so I could like share my whole screen and it's not like this limited thing because that glitch I have it's on StreamYard. So there's the thing called Streamlabs I could use, but I'm not very good with it. It's very like in depth and I want to get better at it. So I figured why don't I just like go do lives on my other channel. We could talk about whatever, true crime, whatever. I won't have so much pressure to like, make it good or like make it like somewhat specific because it'll just be my other channel. And then I could practice like learning all the little things with it because there's a lot of stuff you could do with it. And then we could just hang out, talk about whatever, no pressure, and I could learn the system a little bit. And you guys will still be able to have a live, we'll still be able to hang out. So what do you guys think? Maybe later? Yeah. So if you guys don't know, my other channel, I have it on the description under all my videos. It'll say it's like Zavgirl live streams or whatever. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Will you guys wait 1 second? I gotta see that air conditioner. It's hot right now. I'm gonna turn on the air real quick. Hold on. Right, I'm live right now. Okay, I'm back, guys. All right, so yeah, let's do that later on tonight. Let's get this done, and then I want to do a daytime live tomorrow. Sundays are the best. I feel like to do daytime lives. So if you guys maybe tonight on our other goofy live, you could help me think of some case you guys want to. I've been looking into our tailorship business, but there's not a whole ton to look into. I kind of looked into. I found a little bit here and there. There is a lot, but like nothing necessarily new. But I guess we could go through all the stuff. Yeah, the Chad, there's not really much going on with Chad. That case, I can't really find anything new. But I don't know, we could try to decide and then maybe tomorrow I want to do like a live daytime. We could decide what you want to talk about. Okay. You mean like just read the whole documents and then don't say anything? But the whole point is to discuss them. You know what I'm saying? Usually if I do a pre-record, I might like clip it out of me just reading or something. Those are more just to read. But like when I do a live, it usually is to discuss. So I don't what do you mean? Just like at least read it first. The only problem with that is I feel like I'm gonna forget like what I have to say about it. That's the only thing. I try to take notes and then I forget half the stuff I wanted to say and like as I'm reading it, but I don't know. All right. This one's not that long though. Okay, so I guess we could do it because it really isn't that long of a document. I know that's the only thing. I'm debating how I should do it. I know walking on you won't. I guess that would be better for people that haven't read it yet, but you haven't read it yet. Is that what? Because this probably is more for people that probably already read it and just want to discuss it, even though we are going to read it. But I don't know. Shoot, I'm not sure how to do this. Hold on. I know that's the problem. Waking on. It's going to be hard because by the time you end it, you can't. It's just too much to remember everything you had to say. So what about let's just discuss it, but I guess I could do it. Let me just see how it works. Let's just start reading it and I'll just see how it goes, I guess. If I did, well, the thing is if I did a pre-recorded 100%, I would just read it through. But since I'm not doing it that way, I'm going into it assuming most of you guys probably at least read some of it, but maybe not. Okay, let's just see how it works. I'll try to hold my tongue, but I don't know, dude. If there's like, I guess I can make a couple side notes because there's some things I want to point out that I think is really important. That might be going over people's heads. Maybe not. I mean, maybe you guys picked up on everything. It's kind of like makes you like, yeah, I shouldn't have said. I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't read it. So no, I have to take that in consideration because I am reading the whole document. So those are for people that haven't. So yeah. Okay. So this is so you guys read the original one, right? I did a live and I made it private because I wasn't the proudest of it because I was having a little pity party for myself over there. So I made it private. So, but I'm sure most of you guys read what this is the objection to, right? So they wanted a protective order for the IGG information. And so this is a response from the defense to them because they're trying to get this information, basically how they got to Brian's name, like the whole process. They want the IGG information, and the state's like that's not important. What's important is the end result. Basically, we're trying to protect these people's privacy, and so because it gives personal information, we're trying to protect these people's privacy and information. So no, I don't think it's necessary to give you that information. All that matters is that what happened after. We were able to match him with the DNA, and you don't need to know all the stuff in between. Is basically what the state's saying. Now, this is their response to that, okay? And that's talking about the DNA stuff. IGG is the investigative genealogy. I mean, I can never say it right. Hold on, maybe they have it written out here so you guys can read it. Did I explain it good, guys? For those of you that know, I always say it backwards, so I want to make sure I say it right. That's why. But it's basically the process that they use to, build a family tree and link it back to Brian, basically to go to Brian's parents and look in the trash for his dad. They said you don't need to know that. All the process that we used. Genetic genealogy. Yeah, I was going to say it right. Okay, investigative genetic genealogy. I always mix those two words up. But yeah, I either should say like like I don't know, I'm silly. All right, let's do this. So here's the response. Let me make it one more little. There we go. Comes now Brian C. Koberger by and through his attorney, J. Weston Lodgen, Chief Deputy Litigation, and hereby objects to the state's motion for protective order filed June 16th, 2023, on the grounds that the material the state seeks to hide is discoverable and must be provided to Mr. Koberger. Factual background. On November 13th, 2022, law enforcement responding to a 911 call found Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Cornoto, and Ethan Chapin deceased. Law enforcement later found a K-bar knife sheath placed next to Miss Mogan on her bed. I like how I just have to point out the wording they word, and I know it's on purpose that they use the word placed, because think about what that does in your head, using the word placed rather than like found. The sheath's placed because they're insinuating something. I just had to point that out. Anyway, the knife sheath placed next to Miss Mogan on her bed. The sheath was placed button side down and partially under Miss Mogan and the comforter. On November 20th, 2022, the Idaho State Police Lab in Meridian, Idaho, located DNA on the bottom of the sheath and performed STR analysis that led nowhere when ran through CODIS. And that's the combined DNA index system, other than to show the provider was a male. By December 17th, 2022, lab analysts were aware of two additional male DNA. can't say that right, 2 additional males' DNA within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside the residence on November 20th, 2022. Well, at least you know what? Hold on. Let me highlight that at least because I want to say something about that. Hold on. Is that not letting me? Oh, well, it's not letting me right now. Okay, anyway. To this date, the defense is unaware of what sort of testing, if any, was conducted on these samples, other than the STR DNA profiles. Further, these 3 separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS, leading to the conclusion that the profiles do not belong to Mr. Koberger. While this was ongoing, police were investigating many various possible suspects. Many of them provided DNA. At least one had his DNA surreptitiously taken from a discarded cigarette. Many also had their phones taken and downloaded. One area of the investigation had to do with a white sedan seen on a camera located at 112 King Road, first glimpsed by officers on November 18th, 2022. By November 25th, 2022, police believed the car to be a white Elantra and asked law enforcement to be on the lookout for one. Precisely how the police came to believe the car was an Elantra is still unknown. A report from an analyst from the FBI dated March 21st, 2023, shows the analyst heavily relying on a video of a car headed in the wrong direction and at the wrong time on Ridge Road. The state's latest filing admits that somewhere within all of this, they engaged in investigative genetic genealogy, using the DNA taken from the button on the sheath, and now claims that it was due to the use of this technique that it tipped local law enforcement to investigate Mr. Koberger. It remains unclear what the police first relied on in focusing their investigation on Mr. Koberger. No matter what came first, the car or the genetic genealogy, the investigation has provided precious little. There is no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Koberger's apartment, office, home, or vehicle. Hold on one second, though. Why is that not letting me? Oh, there we go. I have to like highlight some of the stuff I wanted to make because I'm gonna forget if not some of the stuff I wanted to point out. That's a huge one right there that has me concerned. Because remember, they have all this information. They have the discovery. They have most of the discovery. I'm sure they have the basics at least. So let me read that again. There is no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Koberger's apartment, office, home, or vehicle, which makes me believe that they didn't find anything. But hold on, let me just highlight this real quick. Actually, I'll just go back. I'll start from now and highlight. Okay. In essence, through the lack of disclosure and their motion to protect the genetic genealogy investigation, the state is hiding its entire case, which now I am wondering if this is their entire case. The state apparently thinks that they need not to explain how they came to think that it was Mr. Koberger's DNA on the sheath. Presumably, the defense is expected to accept it at face value that the sheath had touch DNA, just waiting for testing by all the FBI's myriad of resources. Additionally, the defense is to guess whether the state focuses investigation on Mr. Koberger via a bizarrely complex DNA tree experiment or through its faulty identification of the vehicle involved in this case. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Mr. Koberger does not accept that his defense does not need this information. It rather obviously falls within the ambit of Rule 16, and a fact that the state's briefing makes clear in its kitchen sink approach to their briefing. The state begins their argument claiming Rule 16 has no interest in IGG testing, and then ends their argument claiming that somehow people will stop sharing their genetics if they were to realize the government is watching. Both arguments must fail. To begin with, the state apparently only wants to prevent Mr. Koberger from seeing how the IGG profile was created and how many other people the FBI chose to ignore during their investigation. In essence, the state argues that if the later STR testing is accurate, then there is no reason to concern ourselves with how the state came to investigate Mr. Koberger. Um, State's brief at 9. What the state's argument asks this court and Mr. Koberger to assume is that the DNA on the sheath was placed there by Mr. Koberger and not someone else during the investigation. That spans hundreds of members of law enforcement and apparently at least one lab that the state refuses to name. And this music is making it so hard for me to focus because I know you guys don't hear it, but I have blasting in my ear, if you want to be my lover. Like, and I'm trying to read the series document. Dang it. It's really loud to me. Anyway, perhaps most puzzling is the state's argument that while Rule 16 requires them to turn over the results or reports from scientific investigation, it does not require the state to disclose what law enforcement does with the results or reports. State's brief at 14. First of all, that sounds like an admission that the information as to how the IGG was carried out should be disclosed. Second, what law enforcement does with results or reports is covered by Rule 16, statements of prosecution witnesses, and 8, police reports. Frankly, the fact that members of the FBI are so concerned about permitting Mr. Koberger to know what they were up to with what was supposedly his DNA does not give one impression that there is nothing to see here, as the state seems to imply. Finally, the state claim that ICR 16 applies to this matter is quite bizarre. Or the state's claim that it applies to is quite bizarre, they're saying. Presumably, the independent company that the government relied on was paid for its work and would stand by it in court. The state provides no real argument as to why the company needs to be protected. Mr. Koberger is left to suspect they wish to keep their methods from being questioned. To the extent that there is some concern about intellectual property that can be addressed via a protective order that permits Mr. Koberger and his defense team to review their work. Second, the state appears to argue that everyone living on Earth that provides genetic information is A, unaware that their DNA could be used by a government somewhere for something, and B, is an informant within the meaning of the term in the rule. The state citations to cases involving actual informants hardly help to make it this incredible leap. No court has ever found the existence of a DNA informant. It would appear that the state is acknowledging that the companies are providing personal information to the state and that those companies and the government would suffer if the public were to realize it. The only two databases that allow access are ones that already inform their users, and those users can opt in to allow law enforcement searches. The statement by the government implies that the databases searched may be the ones that law enforcement is specifically barred from, which explains why they do not want to disclose their methods. If the fact that the government is looking at the genetic information that people are sharing was at all an issue, then the state's very public acknowledgement of such investigation was clearly a big mistake. In any case, it is hard to understand why Mr. Koberger should be the one to suffer because these companies and government choose to either mislead or not educate the public. According to the Pew Research Center, in February 2020, 48% of respondents thought it was acceptable to give their data to law enforcement to solve a crime. 33% said no, and 18% were unsure. James Halpin police use of forensic genealogy tech raises privacy concerns. The citizen's voice available. Okay. However, 60% thought their genetic information could not be shared with other companies. There is no federal law about the sharing of genetic information, but multiple states have begun regulating police use. Lindsay Van Ness DNA database are boon to police but menace to privacy. Critics say state line, blah, blah. Okay, that's just the source. Mr. Koberger has reasons to be extremely suspicious of the IGG used in this case. Rather than seeing it as some sort of complex tree building that led to him, it appears far more like a lineup where the government was already aware of who they wanted to target. Rather than have the investigation done by someone blind to that fact, the FBI chose to do it themselves. This is akin to the police pulling in Mr. Koberger and 5 of his cousins off the street and then pointing at him. The only authority the state has in its favor that is on point is a trial court order from a California case that settled before it could lead anywhere. That decision relied on is People versus Johnson. The court in Johnson was not deciding whether defendant had a right to know how he was identified, only that his identification could come in a trial without a mini trial about it. A better case on the issue is State versus Ortega. In this case, an appellate court heard similar arguments about the need for software used for a facial recognition to be discovered to the defendant, though they would not be admitted at trial. The court, considering the matter, found we are keenly aware the cases we have discussed involved instances concerning FRI hearings and potential expert testimony, and that here we are dealing instead with eyewitnesses who have already identified the perpetrator and the identification found admissible under Wade. However, the facts of this case convince us defendant will be deprived of due process if he does not have access to the raw materials integral to the building of an effective defense. The evidence sought here is directly tied to the defense's ability to test the reliability of the FRT. As such, it is vital to impeach the witness's identification, challenge the state's investigation, create reasonable doubt, and demonstrate third-party guilt. The FRT reliability has obvious implications for the accuracy of the identification process because an array of constructed around a mistaken potential match would leave the witness with no actual perpetrator to choose. The reliability of the technology bears direct relevance to the quality and thoroughness of the broader criminal investigation, and whether the potential matches the software returned yielded any other viable alternative suspects to establish third-party guilt. Defendant's request for the identity, design, specifications, and operation of the program or programs used for analysis, and the database or databases used for comparison are relevant to FRT's reliability. At trial, the state will likely have the investigating officer explain the police investigation, including the process of retrieving the still photo from the surveillance cameras ultimately used to generate an image of defendant. Although we do not speculate regarding the exact nature of this testimony and whether the defendant will seek to impeach it, the fact that the state does not bear the burden of adducing testimony regarding the composition of the photo array does not bar the defense access to the discovery sought. Mr. Koberger finds himself in a similar position as Mr. Ortega. A massive investigation came to focus on him and him alone. The state appears to be trying to hide an original domino such that he cannot discover why. Mr. Koberger has a right to discover and question the investigation that led to him. This court should so find. This court should so find, sorry. Yeah, so that's the... Man, that was really hard to concentrate with this music. I'm sorry, guys. Whew. Man, it was like 2 different moods going into my head. Anyway, first of all, let me see. Actually, I'm going to start using some of my other options I never use. Okay, so actually, let me just see what chat's saying, and then I want to go through like some of it specifically where I feel like I could just talk. Okay, so what do you guys think? Just hearing that one time, or I'm sure maybe you guys read it twice or whatever. What are you guys thinking of that? Man, oh, you're welcome. Scars? What scars? Are you talking about from like the traffic stops, or was there other scars that I missed? Like, you can't see them in any of the, like, court footage, right? Or did I miss something? Hi, a little bit of me. Yeah, so let's go through this, okay? Let me go through some of the let's just go through it specifically. I was gonna see, but it looks like where I don't know. Yeah, that's what I was curious. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. We went through them, but some they're kinda hard to see all of the like, it's kinda hard because we don't get a real clear picture. I wish the freaking cop would've made a better look into the car. He did a horrible job at us seeing into the car, especially the first one. Like, the one was horrible, and then one we got to see a little bit, but alright, let's go through this slowly now that we could kinda just, like, break it down. Hold on, let me bring it back up. You guys really cannot hear that, because maybe if I'm convinced you really can't, I could try to block it out of my head. Alright, let's go through it. Alright. Okay, so they basically factual background, they go over about the knife sheath that was placed on Mace Mogan's bed, uh, which I'm pretty sure, unless if I'm remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure, and all the other court documents from the law enforcement, none of them use the word placed. But I understand why they're using it. It makes it look more like it could have been placed there rather than it actually was a part of the crime. It could have been placed thereafter, which I'm sure they're going to try to do as much as they can to defend him, right? Which is understandable. Okay, there's a couple things that there's one thing that doesn't I don't quite understand because they say where is it? She lost that led nowhere ran to CODIS. Wait, not right there. So we know when they ran the DNA on the sheath, it didn't run, and no, it didn't pick up anybody from CODIS, right? So that's why I'm a little bit confused why they even say this, where they say further these three separate and distinct male DNA profiles, which they're talking about the two that were in the scene in the bedroom, I'm guessing, and one that was on the glove outside. Okay. But they're saying that they were not identified through CODIS, leading the conclusion that the profiles do not belong to Mr. Koberger. I don't understand how they're making that connection because Mr. Koberger wasn't found through CODIS either. So that I don't know, maybe I'm missing something there. But okay, so two additional males, okay, where the deceased were located. So I'm guessing, like I said, I guess it doesn't say. I'm guessing they're meaning Maddie and Kaylee and not. Let me see. How do they word it? Where the deceased were located, and not Ethan and Xana. And the reason I'm thinking that is probably because they're talking about the knife sheath, and that was found in that room. So I'm guessing that's what they mean. That's where the two additional males. So they say two additional males. They don't say unknown males. They just say two additional males, right? Right. And then they say another unknown male. So that's why, if you look at the way this is worded, but also I feel like they do kind of like want you to still believe that maybe it's not. I don't know. But yeah, this one's unknown and this one I feel like they are known, right? That's how I take it. The two. But the one that was found on the glove unknown. Now, was this the case? Remind me, guys, because it's been so long. But do you remember? I think this was the case. Okay, when it first happened, it was what was the channel? The old cop guy, oh my god, I can't even think of what his name is. The one that has a channel that was a old hold on, it's on the tip of my tongue. The Interview Room, that guy. Is this the one where he had somebody on and they talked about that glove that was found outside and they had to like tell somebody about it? Wonder this was that case, right? it was one of the cases. There was a glove that was found like by the trash can or something, and somebody like was like, "Hey, look." So I think they had to go tell them that there was a glove, right? What do you think that's the glove that they ended up finding, and then there was an unknown male? But see, I think that that glove was after. I feel like that was something that was like put there after. But I could be wrong because I don't know if even if that's the glove they're talking about. But I was under the impression that glove might have been something that happened after. Okay. Yeah, no, I understand not on CODIS, but do you see what I was saying about the CODIS remark though? I know, hold on, I'm talking about two different things. I don't want to confuse people. So let's just stick to this unknown male DNA. Okay, so because if they were to believe that that glove was somehow connected to this case and that the killer used it and then threw the glove out or whatever and his DNA's on it, I mean, we would have heard more about that, wouldn't we have? And wouldn't they have looked into this person and wouldn't they have identified this person? And if not, then that is pretty crappy because at least identify it. Yeah, unless if they were already knew that that glove was not there and it was there after everybody was in and out and but if it was like somebody working on a case, it wouldn't be an unknown male unless if they didn't. Because let's say it was like somebody working on the case and they're wearing gloves, and I mean, I guess they could put it as unknown male because they wouldn't be in the CODIS probably if they're working, with the authorities. Most, I mean, I would hope not. And maybe they just didn't feel the need to identify him or put the person's name. Do you think? I don't know. I'm just like thinking out loud, guys. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what that means because we don't have. They have way more information on us. We only have this amount right here. This is like we're getting little tidbits of freaking information through these court documents because that's all we have. No, the tech and data will be the most damning evidence, in my opinion. So you think that they have a lot, Chobani, Shay? I'm going to call you right. I get that that's their job. I know, I get it, and that's what I'm hoping. But what about this part right here? Hold on, I'll wait till I get there because there's one part I wanted to see what you think about that because that's concerning. Um, okay. But do you guys see what I said about this though? About how he's like, oh, because they didn't find those. Oh, where is it down here? They didn't find those male profiles in CODIS. Distinct male profiles were not identified through CODIS, leading to the conclusion that the profiles do not belong. How does that further? These three separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS. Okay. Leading to the conclusion that the profiles do not belong to Koberger. Who? I mean, I don't understand. Is she saying that because they didn't find Koberger and CODIS either? So I don't. She's confusing me with that statement. Okay. Because that wouldn't lead them to believe that. I mean, they're both not found. Why was the ongoing police were investigating many first? And then what about this? This is kind of interesting. So they're investigating many various possible suspects. Many of them provided DNA, like willingly. I'm sure, like Jack and the boyfriends or whatever. I'm sure they willingly was like, yeah. But at least one had his DNA taken from a discarded cigarette. So does that mean that there's one that was refusing to give DNA? And so they took it from a cigarette? Is that what you guys are, excuse me, possibly getting from that or no? Because if they voluntarily would give their DNA, they would have just done it the typical way. So the fact that they had to take it from a cigarette, is that because there was somebody refusing to give the DNA? And I would like to know who that was, right? And I said many other also had their phones taken and downloaded, which, I mean, I'm happy about that. I know I guess you could look at it a couple different ways, but as far as like trying to figure out who did this, I'm happy that they checked and did as much as they can. Okay, but as far as who is that person that was denying DNA is what I want to know. Oh, I don't know. Oh, what are you saying then, pussyfoot? What with that comment that it says, okay, remember BK's, well, we don't know it was BK saying that. All we know is that Dylan said she heard somebody saying that. But okay, let's just say hypothetically that was BK saying it. What is that? What are you trying to say with that? I'm confused. Can you explain? Hi, Capra Corpse. Mezzy Mez, what's up? I don't think I said hi to you. Hey, Batman. No, we cannot hear that. Oh, good. Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure. I'd like to know about more about that. Who's denying DNA? Okay, so now this whole car. That's the thing. What came first? Like, I mean, we know that that one. What was his name? The campus like police where they saw his car, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the cops were already sold on it being Brian. You know what I'm saying? I think that they were still looking into different options. See, I always thought, and I'm gonna have to go through specifics and dates, but I was always thinking that it wasn't until they got the DNA results that they came to that conclusion that they matched up the car, and then they're like, okay, then that car matches. I don't know. I could be wrong though. So it says how precisely how the police came to believe the car was Elantra is still unknown. I mean, probably the way that they try to decide what any car is, right? I guess. So they haven't got the specifics for that, I guess. Let's see. King Road has glimpsed by officers by November 18th. Okay, report from the analyst, March 21st. Heading in the wrong direction. So what about this right here? What do you guys make out of this? This is a report from an analyst for the FBI dated March 21st, 2023, shows the analyst heavily relying on a video of a car heading in the wrong direction at the wrong time on Ridge Road. So are they saying that oh, I've read all this stuff, but I don't know, maybe I'll like specifically read that what you're talking about. I've read that PCA so many times because I'm like, am I missing stuff? So I just kept reading it, but um curious to know where they found the other three males' DNA. Was it more than a tiny speck of touch DNA? I know I'm curious too. Where was it? They said on at the scene, like where they were, the bodies were, but where was it? Like just in the room somewhere? Was it like on their bodies that night? Because if you think about it, who was? Well, we know Jack was hanging out with him, so he could have possibly touched DNA on. They could have his possibly, right? Um, yeah, I would like to know more details, but we don't really have enough to really know. But as far as this right here, relying on a video of a car heading in the wrong direction at the wrong time on Ridge Road. So are they saying that it's basically a car that it can't be the car that they think is BK because it's heading in the wrong direction from like the route that they said that BK went or that the Elantra went that night. So is that what they're trying to say here? So this car that they're really heavily relying on for like a uh oh, thanks, Rich. Anyway, so like, is this the car that they're relying heavily on for a mat, like to identify this what kind of car this is, but yet there's is that what they're saying? Yet it's not even the same car because it's going the wrong direction? Am I understanding that right, you guys? But thank you so much, Rich. Yay, a member! Yeah, so I don't understand. That would be concerning if that's what they're saying, that they're relying on this car that's going in the wrong direction. Or I mean, I think it has to be from what we know, they have to be meaning that it's going in the wrong direction from the route that the other car was known to go. I guess the other way you could look at it is they're saying it's this whole car that they had identified as going in the wrong direction, period, and it can't be him. But so that makes me think that maybe there's doubt that there is two cars that they're watching, and they're not even sure it's all the same car. Who freaking knows? But it's starting to get, but that's true though, Chivani. Shay, right? Um, what if it's just they're just trying to, yeah, create reasonable doubt? Maybe they're really good at it, and it's making me doubt more. This document's making me doubt that they have a good case. Thank you for joining. Yay, Chibani! Oh no, it hasn't. That's the problem. I know. I mean that it hasn't, but I'm just wondering right here. They talk about it's a whole different car than what they were talking about to begin with. So curious about that. And then right here. Okay, because remember, they have basically the discovery. They have all those files. They have everything. There's just a few things that they don't have that they're requesting, like the IGG information and I know they were trying to get like the information about how like the car, identifying the car information, changing it from the years that were changed and stuff like that. But they would have like the basic evidence, right? As far as if there's DNA that they found in Brian's apartment or in his vehicle, would they not already have that? I would think. But look what this says. There's no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Koberger's apartment, office, home, or vehicle. So it makes me wonder: is that one animal hair going to come? That it's not Kaylee's dog? Is like how they said they found stains that look like it could be blood on his was it his pillowcase or whatever? Like I was just like always hoping that this stuff is going to prove to me that he's the guy, but it just looks like that's not what ended up happening from that statement, right? Because she's making it seem like that no, there was no DNA. They didn't find any DNA anywhere. Unless if they just haven't got that yet or haven't got the results yet, but I would hope. Well, if here's what I expect them to say, Alan. If that's not true and they did find DNA evidence at his house or his home or his vehicle, I wouldn't expect them to add it in here. Or when they're listing like apartment, office, home, let's say they found it in his vehicle, but nowhere else. I would expect them to leave off the term vehicle so this is accurate. I mean, does that make sense? But maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe they're allowed to just like say that when it's not true. But it just makes me wonder, does that mean that they don't have it? They don't have anything because I was hoping that they did. That they had some kind of more DNA than just the little touch DNA. I was hoping that they found something in his house, in his car, a home office, something. But now, with that being said, that does not mean that it can't be him. I know that it can't because he could have, if anybody could probably pull it off and make sure there's no DNA anywhere, it'd be him. It'd be hard, but I feel like a person type like him that knows the ins and outs and specifics and what needs to be done. So still not saying that I think it's 100 like it's not him. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I have doubt. Yeah. Could it still be him? Yeah. But it's just making me think that it's not gonna be as strong of a case as I was hoping for. So, and it's still, I mean, I still might hear it and be like, yeah, I still think it's him, but it's just I'm still having a little bit of doubt. And we don't, that's not good when it's like that. And I know there's a lot of cases that end up being like that, but it just kind of sucks because there's a lot of innocent people that do get charged and convicted. And you just hope that, like, case, I mean, especially a case you're following and this huge case that I don't know. I guess we'll see. Maybe there is other things that will be really good besides like DNA and stuff. Or could it be a professional? Yeah, it could be. Yeah. But he would be, in my eyes, he would kind of be a professional. I mean, yeah, I guess he wouldn't be in the fact that he's not, he'd probably be like new, but professional because he knows, like, because he studied it. Okay, Sarah, yeah. That's fine. I mean, everybody, I I understand why people think that too. I would just like hoping that maybe something that they found at his home when they found that like red spot or like the hair or something. I thought, man, maybe they have something like that. But it doesn't look like they do, at least that. But let's see what else. Because they make another remark where they almost like insinuate that maybe they that DNA got on the knife sheath in a different way besides Brian putting it there. Now, I don't know if they're trying to like insinuate, and I know they're just trying to raise reasonable doubt. Do they really believe that, or does she really believe that? Who freaking knows? Probably not. Um, but she's just doing her job, right? But hold on, let me right here. So, to begin with, the state apparently only wants to prevent Mr. Koberger from seeing how the IGG profiles was created, and how many other people the FBI chose to ignore during their investigation. In essence, the state argues that if the later STR testing is accurate, then there is no reason to concern ourselves with how the state came to investigate Mr. Koberger. So they're saying that that's what the state's saying, but um what the state's argument asked this court and Mr. Koberger to assume is that the DNA on the sheath was placed there by Mr. Koberger and not someone else during an investigation that spans hundreds of members of law enforcement and apparently at least one lab and the state refuses to name. So now they're trying to put in some doubt about, ooh, maybe, they're not going to show all this information how they got there because what if something shady was done here and that was the DNA wasn't even placed there by Brian and somebody else placed it there, Um, which I know there's a lot of concerns of people thinking that. I've heard a lot of channels talk about that too. Um, to me, somebody planting somebody's DNA on something, like as far as like law enforcement doing it, somebody doing it during an investigation. I mean, it's possible, but wouldn't there she would have to show me some kind of connection of why anybody would even want to do this to Brian. Like, is there a connection you could find somewhere and somebody in the investigation that you think had some reason to freaking do that to him? Like, otherwise, it's just some random, like, oh, let's just find this random guy's DNA. They would have to bring up some kind of connection, though, right? Like, connect him to somebody that you think has some kind of motive for putting DNA on there and framing him, basically. So I feel like they would have to probably bring up some kind of connection, right? For me to like really consider that as a option in this case. I would want to know, okay, who and why. But I know you guys could turn that around on me Believe me, I see all sides. Don't think I don't. I know you could turn that around on me and say, "Well, I want the same for I want the same from you for Brian. Show me some kind of connection that makes him want to do this to those girls." Well, sometimes when it comes to like psychopaths, I'm not saying he's a psychopath, but I feel like whoever did this probably is suffering for something, some kind of mental personality disorder or whatever. So let's say if it is him, you might not need a necessary like connection or reason other than something that the normal healthy mind just can't even fathom to understand logically. Like it doesn't make sense to people like us. We could study it and make it make sense in that aspect of okay, this is because this is how they think, and but like to really understand it, well, I mean, a healthy person, we're never going to fully understand why people kill people. But yeah, so it looks like also though, it does look like from this statement up here, where is it? Where is it? There's no connection. So there's no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims. So now remember, this is coming from his attorney. So right here, you know how people are like, well, oh, we're going to find out that he knew them or he was their friend and that's why he was there. But this makes me think that's not the route they're going to go. And he doesn't know him because unless if she's just trying to go by like they weren't able to find a connection or something. Um, which that's another concerning thing, you guys. Unless I mean, maybe she hasn't got through all this stuff yet, but if going through all like the internet stuff and everything, they have all that information. Was there no connection that they found? Or does she just mean like in some way she's saying like a connection like there weren't friends or something? And maybe there is a connection where he was somehow followed him on some kind of social media or something. I mean, I guess you could use that loosely and it could still mean something else. So yeah, I'm not going to take that. But I am going to take it that it's not going to come out that they were friends or anything. Like, because there's some people like, or what if they actually really knew each other? But don't you think? I don't know if she would have said that. There's no connection if they were actually like. I never thought. I mean, I never personally thought that they were like friends or like. But there's a lot of people that have. But I don't know. I don't think that's the case because of that statement. Maybe I'm putting too much weight into these statements, but this is all we have. I'm trying to like get as much information out of this as I can. Wait, overthinking what though, Alan? Can you explain which way or with what? Can you explain what do you mean I'm overthinking? Like I said quite a few stuff right now, so I don't know which part you're talking about. Austin, what up? Ian, what's up? Yeah. But you're saying so maybe one of them was involved in the investigation that did it? Yeah, maybe. I'd have to like see a name like, okay, this was one of his students and he's involved in the investigation. But I guess chances are probably good because of the air. Not good, but it wouldn't be that weird that one of his students would be in that area, in that field of work because of what he teaches. So yeah, possibly. Um, let me see. I have to remember to use all these new like settings I have. Okay, so oh, this one's actually not a new one, but still. Um, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to fill in like a lot of the timelines and stuff. So, like for instance, that the protective order got document that came out before the whole what this is in response to. I want to go through that because I try to go through it a little bit before I did this live just to see, but they don't give any really dates on that, do they? I skimmed through it really quick. I didn't see any. Like as far as like what date they did this or what date they did that. We'll look at it in a minute, but I don't think they do. But if they do, maybe that could help us kind of put into perspective what when is what. I know it is. I'm just trying to like get like I'm trying to like read in between everything and trying to get as much information, but I guess they're not probably putting this much weight into like some of their like as far as like maybe them making a remark like even in this document that they're not meaning it like 100% maybe if that makes sense. Like for instance, I don't know. So like for instance this right here, just so I could see if I'm like way overthinking this. This whole sentence, would you guys didn't take it as here, let me do it like this. You guys didn't take this as that means that they don't have it because they have all the evidence now and they're saying the lack of DNA evidence. That means they don't have DNA evidence. So I'm overthinking it to think that that being true because of this sentence. And I'm honestly asking because I want to know, like, because my mind, I am a very big overanalyzer. So I just want to see if you guys think that part's an overanalyzation, if that's not what that means. Right here. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Koberger's apartment, office, home, or vehicle. And this is coming from somebody that has the discovery, at least there's a few parts that she's been requesting, but she has most of it. It wouldn't, she would have this part by now, but I don't know if she was able to go through everything by now. I don't know, but okay. See, I was looking at it right then. See? Okay. Okay. No, I mean that's how I saw it. It means that they don't have any. Um, and that's why I highlighted. I mean, I think this is a really important part because I was hoping that they had some kind of another physical link to him. But okay. Now what about right here? Tracy talks a lot. There is no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims. What do you I took it as that means that he doesn't know them. So it's the people that are wondering, "Oh, I wonder if it's gonna come out he was their friend or, their drug dealer, or he had some kind of connection and he hung out with them." Since this is coming from his lawyer, I'm taking it that no, he didn't know them, right? Is that looking too far into it to take that out of that? So I think that those 2 are pretty telling statements right there, at least from how I see it. Like I said, you guys could disagree and that's fine. But that's why I wanna hear what you guys have to say. And then this is interesting. Okay, so Ridge Road. Where's Ridge? Let me get my map out because that's another thing I wanna talk about is I might go over the cell phone thing real quick. Because it could really be done really quick, my cell phone stuff. It's not that it took me a while to do, but it's really not that much. Oh, Shivani, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, 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 wait. Don't take what I'm saying the wrong way. I'm not saying oh, I hope you guys aren't reading what I'm saying wrong. I'm not saying that that means anything. This part right here, there's no connection between Mr. Koberger and Victor. I'm not saying that that means that he can't be the one. I've always thought that I don't think there's a connection, but I think it was him. Like before, when I thought it was him, like when I was more sure that it was him when it all first happened and they arrested him. I never really thought that they were going to find like a connection. I thought it was. I didn't think they were friends or they knew each other like that. Um, but I still thought that it was him then. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, just because there's no connection does not mean it can't be him. A lot of these, like especially serial killers, there a lot of the times it's not people that they know. I'm only bringing that up because there are a lot of people that were contemplating, oh, they thinking that maybe that they knew each other. I'm just saying this shows me that okay, it doesn't look like they did, which doesn't surprise me because I never thought that they did. That's all. Yeah, Chebani, I know. Doesn't mean that doesn't mean that it's not him. I 100% believe uh, understand that. Okay, so this one's a little more disconcerting to me. The hold on. Wait, 2 additional okay, so we have the DNAs, we have That's what I wanted to do, the Ridge Road. Okay. So before I bring up the oh, you know what? I could do that now. Hold on a second. The maps. Do I have the Google Earth? Yeah. Here we go. I just want to see something. Where's Ridge Road at? Forget. I remember seeing it somewhere. Ridge Road. Is Ridge Road in oh, they're talking about Paradise Ridge Road? Is that what they mean? Oh no, that's way down there. No, that's not. Remember, that's why that's familiar, because of the cell phone. There's a cell phone tower there. Never mind. I thought that was somewhere else. Okay. Ridge Road. Let me see. Forget where that's at. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, so they do have. Hold on a second. That's what they're talking about. Let me see something. They have it. So it's right there. It's where they think, like when he made his way, this launcher made his way, that possibly that was where he was coming from. Let me see here. So that was, I have all of it. Moment. $326. Okay. So they're saying that the man, that's weird. I don't understand. That's kind of, I mean, I understand what they're saying, but wonder why that is. It says a report from analysts for the FBI dated March 21st shows that analysts are heavily relying on a video of a car headed in the wrong direction and at the wrong time on Ridge Road. So that's like, what? That makes you wonder, like, that's the one that they're heavily relying on, but it's not, it doesn't even look like it's that car that they were tracing, that they were thinking was BK's the whole time, that it's like going the wrong way on that road, but yet that's the one that they're relying on. What do you guys make out of that? Okay, so I want to go. I want to bring up that other document too, just to see if there is any times. Like I said, I skimmed through it and I didn't see any. I want to see though, just to make sure, like dates or like dates of the DNA stuff. I don't think they do though. Wow, that was already up there. There's so many documents that came out since that. They're just all like just short. I mean, we could go over them all, but there's not really anything that interesting. So here's that DNA document, the state's protective order. I just want to see if they give us any dates of when this was done. Why do I think that they don't? No, I don't see any. Good view. Hold on, just give me 1 minute. Yeah. just to do like put out like a timeline so we could kind of understand, but they don't. Hmm. Okay, well, yeah. So we're not gonna know as far as when that was done. Um, yeah, but that's like, well, then what the heck? That's the one that we're relying on. It's kind of scary, don't you think? Yeah, let me know. Let me see it when you get it done, if you don't mind. Um, I had actually Sleuthie sent me her timeline. I'm trying to remember where I put it. Hold on, let me try to find it. But I mean, we only have what they've given us, and they haven't. There's nowhere to put the DNA on a timeline because they don't give us the dates of when it was. Let me see if I could find Sleuthie's. Mm, I think she. Hold on, let's see if it's helpful. I think she texted me it. Yeah, it's more like a spreadsheet type thing. Let me send it to me. All right, let's go through the cell phone stuff. Unless if anybody has anything else you guys want to talk to about this. I think it's definitely interesting. It has me a little bit scared, but maybe that's exactly what it's supposed to do. And I don't know. Uh, just makes me think that there's no other physical evidence linking them there. I was just hoping that they had something else, you know? Okay, so here's this thing. This is Sleuthie. Sleuthie made this. This is her uh spreadsheet timeline type thing here. Haley Willett claims she met Brian on Tinder when they were both psychology majors. Hold on, I'm going to share it on this. You guys want to go through this or no? But credits to Sleuthie that she, she is awesome with these timelines here. What I'm going to do though, I'm going to have to share it on my other one and we'll do it. I haven't even really went through it yet, but it's probably good like normal. All her stuff is pretty good. Okay. All right, let's do this. Is that? Oh, thank you so much again for being a member. hate what's with you crack me up. All right, I don't know. I won't even say crack me up, but Bush. What? I mean, I get what you're saying, but is there a reason you always bring that up? No, I don't know. I mean, I get what you're insinuating with the Bush, but I'm just curious of what you are, who are you saying it to? All right. That I would like to know that, and also why you always want Shauna to do jumping jacks. I'm sure it's some kind of perverted way, but I just every time I just don't know where that came from. But because I don't think you ever answered me when I asked you that before, did you? You said it's a thing, but I notice every time she's up here, you tell her to do jumping jacks. Just curious. I'm just curious. Hopefully I'm not putting you on the spot, but all right. All right, let's do this. So here's the one where it says 2015, Haley Willett claims she met Brian on Koberger on Tinder when they were both psychology majors at Pennsylvania colleges. So she has like videos to link each thing. Which
when University of Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger was arrested, this woman couldn't believe her eyes.
I recognized him immediately, and my heart just sank because I couldn't believe that. Like, I was face to face with this guy.
Nurse Haley Willett says they met on Tinder in 2015 when they were both psych majors at Pennsylvania colleges. He took her to a movie, then insisted on escorting her to her dorm room.
I was kind of afraid to say no, so I just let him come in with me.
Then he did something she says she'll never forget.
He kept trying to tickle me, and I would ask him to stop, or I'd say, "What are you doing?" And he would be like, I'm not tickling you. And he would get very serious.
Creeped out by Koberger, she came up with a clever ruse.
I proceeded to pretend to throw up in the bathroom, hoping that, it would gross him out and he would leave.
Did it work?
Yeah. He had messaged me on Tinder and said that he was leaving and that he had a good time and that he would message me later. And then about an hour later, he messaged me and he said that I had good birthing hips. And I just never messaged him back after that.
After what happened to the four.
Hey, I was saying, wait, I missed it. Did she say this woman weird? You're saying on this video, right? You said this woman, the way they said that. Who? Now I missed it. Who said this woman? The host of this channel right here, or did the girl that went on a date with Brian? I missed it. Huh. Okay.
For Idaho students, Haley thinks she had a lucky escape.
It could have been me.
And this woman says she knows and sympathizes with what Dylan Mortensen is going through. Dylan is one of the two surviving roommates and didn't call 911 for 8 hours. Despite coming face to face with the killer, she told police she was in frozen shock.
She is not to blame for anything. Absolutely not.
Alana Zabel is a yoga instructor who attended Buffalo University in New York. She lived with 4 sorority sisters and suffered an eerily similar trauma. One night in 1992, a rapist broke into their home and attacked a student. Alana heard the attack, saw evidence that there had been a break-in, and even saw bloodstains, yet she convinced herself nothing was wrong.
I felt someone in my room, and I lifted up my head, and there was no one there, but then the front door closed.
She waited 6 hours to call 911 and will never forget the horrific scene she found in her.
Okay, I don't know if I want to watch the rest of this. I just, because that was a part of her timeline, Saluthi's first timeline. Which ones are you talking about? Walking Yawn, Wake and Yawn. You said, which boys? You said about thinking about those boys on the band field, and one of them matches the description. Which boys? Can you explain what boys you're talking about? Okay, so we have Brian Koberger graduates from North Hampton College in Bethlehem, PA, with an associate's degree in psychology. So 2021, Brian works as a security guard for Pleasant Valley School District in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania, where his mother was listed as a paraprofessional. So we have 5/1/2022, 11:28 a.m., 19-year-old Hudson R. Lindo, Sigma Chi member, found deceased in Paradise Creek. 5/21, Brian Koberger graduates from DeSales University. Gosh, the music just started again. 6/1, Kaylee starts her job at Extreme Networks as an intern on the U.S. commercial team working for Jeremiah Shea, commercial sales head. 6/5, victims begin their release at 1122 King Road. 6/23, Brian opens a cell phone account with AT&T in his own name and registered to the Albrightsville, PA address. End of June, Brian moves to 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment G201. So we got 816, the road or officers for King Road for noise. Okay, so let's go to the cell phone stuff now. I guess this is a good time to go into that, maybe. Cell sources providing coverage. Oh, here's the 912. A man threatens a group of students with a knife on Paradise Path between Student Rec Center and the University Steam Plant near the parking lot 14. The white man appeared to be 18 to 22 years old and all black with a black baseball cap. He was last seen heading east on Paradise Path, riding a mountain bike with a blue backpack. And then at 9:39, vandal alert sent out by University of Idaho advising keep doors locked and staying inside. Yeah, so there's so that happened on 9/12. And then 9:15, man threatens student with a knife, is identified and is cooperating with police. No charges have been filed. What does that mean? A cooperate is cooperating? What? With what though? Why would he be needing to cooperate? You guys, that's weird. Let's see what it says. I didn't know that he was cooperating or hold on. Okay. After allegedly threatened students with a knife on Paradise Path Monday evening, Moscow police have identified the man involved. The man has been cooperating with police with charges yet to be filed, according to an email sent by Jack Nichols, Executive Director of Public Safety and Security. While the incident occurred at the edge of the campus, the man is not affiliated with the university. We appreciate the efforts of the Moscow Police Department to follow up on this case and continue to protect our campus community, Nichols said in an email. Nichols recommended using caution when walking at night. So what do you mean he's cooperating with police? Doesn't that make you think like he's helping them with another case? Learn to grow. Yes. I hope you're right. I do. Ooh, Chips Ahoy. The soft ones are so good. Yes. Oh, that's a cute cat. Yeah. Hey, Carolina. I don't know. I'm wondering what that whole cooperating means. That's the first I've even heard of that. I didn't know. You guys really don't hear that, huh? All right, so let's go back to the timeline. So that's wait, where does it say that? Hold on. Yeah, no charges have been filed. That's 9:15. So fall, BK applied for an internship with Pullman Police Department. Let's see what this says. Yeah, that's just that. It's probably because it's somewhere in there. So 10/12, 7 p.m. Moscow Film Society and University of Idaho Film and Television Department present Scream. (10:14) WSU police officer pulls over 2015 Hyundai Elantra with PA plate, blah, 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 driven by Brian Koberger. 11:11 morning, Kaylee buys her Range Rover, then heads to Moscow for a Pi Phi party and shows off her car. So 11:11 morning, she buys a Range Rover, heads over to Moscow for. Let's see what this is. Oh, video isn't available anymore. I don't know what that's about. That's weird, huh? I'm gonna go over the rest of this, but let me just do my cell phone thing really quick because I know I'm gonna keep putting it off and forgetting. And then we'll go through the rest of this. Yeah, we'll definitely go. Let's go through the rest of that too. Let me just do the. You guys don't hear that. That's awesome, but I keep bringing it up. It's just hard to believe because it's so loud. Okay, so let me get caught up on chat. So basically, all I did is I just mapped out all the cell phone towers. Not all of them. Okay, so there are some cell phone towers, but there's all the FCC registered ones, and then there's one that I added because it's the one that's actually an AT&T provider. Because I found a couple websites, the FCC ones that have all the ones registered, which, like I said, there are some that you don't have to have them registered. So there's going to be some that just aren't on there, right? But then I found another website that has all of the cell phone towers where you could put in like what provider, and it'll bring up their towers. So I looked at AT&T, and I just for the heck of it, I looked up Verizon just to like compare. And actually, if you're in Moscow, you're better off having AT&T. As far as, I mean, they're probably both okay, but if you look at towers, as far as towers, like AT&T has more, like especially for this campus, for this college, like they have more in that area than Verizon does. Okay, so you have all the towers, they're like with that logo. Okay. So we have the closest one to the house is this one right here. which I don't know, maybe is that the one that when they're saying like, oh, this is the phone that he or the tower that was utilized when he was in the King Road residence area, right? But if you go by 4 miles, I did 4 miles. So it says 4 miles is like one of the max that each tower would reach. I should have probably made it a little bit less, but it could possibly reach 4 miles, right? So each of these markings, I did 4 miles out just to see what it could reach, each tower could reach, right? So hold on, I'll show you the graph I did. One second. Just to show you. Oh my God, it's I'm having a reaction. Sorry, I'm just jam into the music. Just it feels so weird to have that playing. Okay. So what I did is I did a four like I did a circle, so 4 miles out for each tower, if that makes sense. So like for instance, this is the tower that I think is the closest, the one that they would have probably most utilized, and it's the AT&T tower. And I did like 4 miles, and I drew a circle so you could kind of just see the area that it covered for each one. Now remember, this is where Idaho stops at Washington. So this is Idaho and then Washington. So you see this tower right here, and see how close this is on the border? So you could definitely be in Washington, not in Moscow, and connect to this tower. You could even connect to this tower, really, because the 4 mile like radius or whatever. But do you see how many good ones like this, and this would all be great for service for King Road, right? Okay, so let me just bring up that real quick. So we have, remember, this is the divider of the state, right? So you have this tower, that's basically 3 towers that could reach into Pullman, or it could reach into Washington, I should say. Even this one possibly, you know? Okay, so the reason I bring that up here is if you remember on this, where, because I don't even know if people were even, maybe nobody's even talking about it anymore, but I remember when this first came out, there was a thing, there was an article on it, and people were like, well, why does this say that investigators found that 848 phone did connect to a cell tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14th, but investigators do not believe the phone was in Moscow on the date, right? The phone has not connected to any towers. Okay, so yeah, after that. But so you have that. And then you have this right here where it says the 12. It says the records for 8458 phone show that 8458 phone utilizing cell resources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th. And all of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening. So people were like, well, I don't understand. How can they say that, you know, that his phone used resources that provide coverage to King Road residents here, but on this one up here, it says this, what I just read, how the cell phone tower provides service, or investigators found that it did connect, but it doesn't mean They don't believe he was in Moscow. But it's kind of quite simple, actually. It's just the wording. So they're saying, at least for this part, they're saying that they found a phone that did connect to a tower that provides service to Moscow, not King Road. They just say Moscow, but they don't believe that he was in Moscow. So, he could be connecting to this service. So, this would be a cell phone tower that provides service in Moscow, but he could be here, right? Even he could possibly, it could have been this or this, but like if you use this one, I mean, anything that's close enough. But if you look at right here, how they word it. So this one they word Moscow, and then this one they just word that uses this the provide coverage to the 1122 King Road, not Moscow. Does that make sense? So the wording is totally different. They're just saying the one. I mean, you see what I'm saying? I don't think they're even talking about the same tower on those ones. If I'm even making sense. They're just saying a tower that provides service to Moscow, which could be any of these, but they don't believe he's in Moscow. But then on the other 12 occasions, he's using the same service or the same tower that provides service to the King Road residents. And that's about all they say. I mean, they don't even really say that it means anything. If you read it, it just says the provide service. The records show that utilizing cell resources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say, nowhere does it say that means he was at the house or anything. They just say, oh, look, he's using service that provides service to the King Road residents. So I'm just guessing the way why they worded those separately is probably because maybe those times he connected to this tower, which would be more prone to provide service to King Road, that house, and then this one, because they just say Moscow, a Moscow tower, provide service to a Moscow tower. They didn't even say King Road tower. But regardless, they don't even say that means anything, if that makes sense. They never say, oh, that means he was at the house. They just say, oh, he connected to the tower 12 times prior, the same tower that he used, or that if you're at King Road residence, that they would use. But it's still, none of it means really that much because all these towers could possibly connect. That's what's crazy. Like, so we're just gonna have to wait for some of these specifics because they're all so like these three are so close to the house that realistically you could, and all three of these could connect pretty easily to this tower. Or if you're at this house, you could probably get service to connect into any three of these. But I think the first one that it's prone to connect to, the closest, will be this one, right? And this is the tower that I think, hold on, I think they actually say this is the tower, or maybe that's in the article where they, something about, hold on, I could be wrong. Let me see. When they talk about right here. Hold on. Okay, wait. Phone utilizing cell service providing coverage to King Road residents, approximately 10. So remember that traffic stop. This is the only one that they won't release this traffic stop for some reason because I've tried to request it. And you know how they have the other two, or three, I should say. They released the other three, right? Yeah, they won't release that. You get a response like, it's because the investigation or whatever. So anyway, so if you look at it, they're almost like insinuating that from that one stop. One of these occasions on August 21st, 2022, the 8458 phone utilized cell resources providing coverage to the King Road residents from approximately 10:34 to 11:35. Now they're not saying for sure, but you almost insinuating that was the same cell tower as as the ones the 12 previous times, right? That it was the same one. Are you guys seeing what I'm saying? Which even fits more that it was, because look, that stop was, hold on, let me make sure I got that listed right. 1137, Lee Talk. Yeah, Pullman Highway. So that stop, hold on. Right here. And they're almost insinuating that those 12 times it's almost like the same tower. I mean, it's not 100%, but if you read it, it sounds like that's what they're insinuating, that those 12 times are the same tower that it used that time where he gets pulled over right here, right? So yeah, pretty sure those 12 times that he utilized this one, if I were to guess. And that one time where they said Moscow, but they don't believe he's in Moscow, I'm guessing that he utilized a different one. It's in Moscow, but not. And that's why they were able to maybe tell, like, okay, we don't believe he was in Moscow, but he did use the same resource, the same tower that Moscow, people in Moscow could use, right? So I'm guessing maybe this one or another one, if there's other ones that are on the border. And I'm also guessing that because they use that cast analysis, that they are able to narrow it down more, that they were able to get a more narrow idea of where he was. So they maybe because of that, they were actually able to narrow it down that he wasn't there too, because they were able to, because they have more information than what they're giving us, because they use that cast, which with the Valo case, they were able to get so close. So I'm hoping they did, that they were able to get some good, accurate GPS of Brian, or yeah, Brian. So yeah. So I think both. I think it's because of the tower it used and because they have a little bit more accurate information than what they had at the time of the PCA. And then the 12 previous times, I mean, hopefully they're able to narrow that down. We don't know. Maybe they were when they're going to find out that, I mean, he could have been anywhere in Moscow or anywhere around this. Let's say it's this one. Okay, let's say this is the one. Let's see where he could have been from the graph. So that's this pink one. So that means, look, it puts you a 4-mile radius of the max, I would say, of what it would reach. You could be in Washington, you could be down here, you could be like right here. To put it in perspective, right here is Moscow. I mean, yeah, like, no, I mean, it's all Moscow, but right here is like the campus, college, all the city, and all where the main stuff is. But look how far out he could have got. He could have linked up to that tower and been. So yeah. But like I said, I mean, it really didn't say that it meant that he stalked him or anything. It just said that it puts him in the same use the same resources as people that would use if they were at the King Road residence. But yeah, so my conclusion is I don't think that they were even talking about the same tower when they said that right here, because they say Moscow provides service to Moscow. This one says provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road. So they specifically say that rather than just Moscow, which means it could be any of those towers to provide to Moscow. Because Moscow has what, 3 or 4 towers that are listed. How many more that aren't listed on the FCC page? So yeah. And then that one that at 9 o'clock also says, hold on. Just bear with me. Hold on, guys. I'll do it like that. The one at 9 o'clock says, I think that one specifically says King Road too. The King Road area. Hold on. And that's why I think they were able to kind of insinuate that he might have been by the house, if that makes sense. Like right here. Specifically, phone utilized cell resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residents at 9:12 to 9:21. But like I said, what are we going to find out after we see like the work they did with that cast analysis? Were they able to really narrow it down and show that he was like right by the house, or did they not have that capability somehow because of different factors? Or are we going to find out, oh, he was just in town? We don't know. I don't know. But like I said, it doesn't really say he was stalking. I mean, if you read this, it doesn't say. They just said they were gonna see. They don't. I didn't read anywhere on here where they concluded that they said in conclusion he was stalking them or anything like that. I don't see anything on there like that. Let me see. Unless if I missed it. I know it says it's right here. It just says they wanted to get a warrant to trace his phone to see if in efforts to determine if Koberger stalked any of the victims, in this case, prior to the offense, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any of the victims' associates before or after alleged offenses. Any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13th, the location of the white Elantra registered at Koberger, as well as the location. And then that's when they say they saw like 12 occasions that he used the same resources as they would if you were in the house. That's all. But so anyway, so let's go over here. These are the Pullman cell towers. So we have this one. Hold on. So here's there. So like the main ones, basically. Like I said, there's still other ones, but I didn't even do a radius with it for that one, for the ones that were, and I didn't do a radius for some of these out. This one, or I did it, but I didn't do the circles for all of them. I just did the ones more in the area. So yeah, you have this one, and this one. So none of at least these ones reach into Moscow. See, right here, from here to here, there's like no towers, at least that I could find. Like I said, I know there's other towers that just aren't on the list, but so if you're like in between, I could see like your phone is going from one of these towers and they're coming into the Moscow area, and you're like kind of in between. I could see it connecting to one of those because there's no other one to connect to. And from what I understand, it's what happens is your phone, like even if your phone isn't using like it's not doing anything, you don't make a call. It's better if you do make a call or somebody calls you. You get, it is better. But from what I understand with cell phones is as you go from tower to tower, like in the area, let's say he's driving like here and he's coming this way, as you go from, like, let's say your phone is connected to this tower, but as you go away from that and when you're in the area to connect to another tower, from what I understand, your phone just makes that connection to have that, like, oh, okay, here's the tower I'm going to use like if I need it or something happens, and it makes that connection just in case if it needs it, if that makes any sense. I know, I mean, there's probably a better way to explain that, but because I remember looking into this stuff with the Watts case, and that's what I understood, that it still does ping to a tower as it goes into another tower area. It'll make that ping, so it'll connect, so it knows like, okay, this is the tower I'm going to need. And then if it goes to another area where that's out of range and it goes into another range, it does that. So just because, let's say, he doesn't get a phone call from here to here, it's still going to make a connection to the closest tower. So I feel like there's still a really good chance it's going to link. I mean, you're going to have some data for it of where you're at, if that makes sense. Because it's like, and then the GPS. And so, yeah, how many people use those same cell towers, plus often do not just choose their cell towers in a given. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, your apps and everything. So it just keeps connecting because it needs to make that connection as it travels so it knows which one, you know? And so now the thing that I'm not sure, and I was reading some Reddit. I was in like a Reddit. I don't even know how you, I'm not that familiar with the Reddit, so don't make fun of me. But whatever the Reddit's called, like a Reddit group or a Reddit subreddit or whatever you call them. I was in one of the Reddit things. And oh wait, hold on. I want to do it like that. Okay. So I was in one of the Reddit and they were saying how sorry, I just wanted to catch up with chat. Oh, hey Melissa, what up? What up? Thanks for coming in. I've been catching your lives after the fact, like but when they aren't live. But good job, you've been doing good. What do you make out of the response, the state's response to that protective order? Pretty interesting, huh? Wait, what do you mean, Alan and Big White Horse? I don't well, okay, if you look at the evidence this way, you'll go crazy. But which way are you mean? Are you talking to me? Alan? And Big White Horse, you guys and gals have fun with those numbers and variables. Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to do with these games. I mean, it's all about science. It's a science. It really is. Now what was the question? Man, I see how I get sidetracked so easily that I forget what I was just about to say. Keep it in and they would have used a better sample to do the IGG. Oh wait, hold on, Tracy. DNA all over the crime scene in the car. If they had any other DNA at the crime scene, they wouldn't have to work so hard to keep it in. Hey, Pedals in the Wind. Oh, I was talking about Reddit. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was getting at. Reddit. And if it's on, let's say it's on airplane mode, can your phone still ping on the towers? Is it possible? Well, in one of the Reddits, they were going over it, and there's one of them that said that there is like the FBI has the capability of getting that information because there is still data on that. But I don't know if this person was legit or how this person knows. So I would like to know that. I would like to for sure know that. Number two, I would like to know if this area, any of these areas are known to be for you to lose service. Like, is it typical, like, traveling from here to here, somebody to lose service for a couple hours? Is there like a dead spot? Well, there isn't a dead spot when it comes to cell towers because I looked all through here with the AT&Ts, with the website that has all the towers, the AT&Ts and stuff. And that's just the towers that are on there. There's actually more towers than just that. But anyway, and there really isn't any dead spots as far as like what the capability of each tower is able to cover. It's all covered, like this route and stuff. The route supposedly that they think he went back, it would all be covered. But that doesn't mean that there are not scenarios that sometimes that would make you lose service or bad service where I have spots in this neighborhood when I'm going on a walk, it drives me nuts. Like there's certain spots that I'll just go out on. So it just makes me wonder if for some reason when his phone went off, was it like a dead spot? I know it went off later that day too. So was he hiding? Like there's two ways to look at it. Was he hiding the evidence then? Or was it because he was in that same area because they made it seem like he would travel that same path that time it went out too. Both times it went out, they made it seem like he was probably doing that same path in a way. So you could look at it either, oh, is that because there's something in that route that makes you lose service? Or is that because, yeah, he went to hide the evidence that at that time after he did the crime. So he turned it off to commit the crime and then after to go hide the evidence. I mean, you can look at it both ways, but coming from an AT&T tower perspective, there are a lot, especially in this area, like good towers. It seems like they have a really good service, at least in Moscow, AT&T, as far as like their towers and stuff. But so for him to be there and not have service, but then that would be, but if you look at it like that, we're assuming that he was there, right? So what if when all that was happening and his phone went out, we're assuming, oh, that's where he was, but what if he actually even wasn't in Moscow? So in somewhere else, which had bad service. I don't know. I know it hurts your head because you could look at it. You can look at this from so many different angles. It's frustrating. And that's why I do think I need to just let go of this for a minute until there's new stuff, which I have been. There's a new document that came out, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because that document had my head like, what the heck? It made me really doubt that they have any DNA. Okay, so wait, Melissa J, did you answer? What do you think of that? Is she still here? I don't even know if you're still here. I want to know what you think of that document. If you think that means maybe they actually don't have any more DNA. Where are you? No, I don't think you're here anymore. Anyway, like I said, you know me. I mean, this whole time I've been leaning more towards his guilt, but I feel like the more and more I'm keep finding out stuff, that leaning becomes less and less. I'm still like leaning, but the more it just comes less and less leaning that way, which I am still that. I feel like I have to say I probably still am that way, but yeah. So I'm hoping the trial's not going to make it like, hopefully the trial will just make it more obvious. I just don't like that. There's a couple parts of that document that I don't like. Like what? Are they relying on the wrong freaking car? And then what? So they didn't end up finding any DNA evidence. So yeah, that's about it. Wait, was there another one? Hold on a second. That one, the DNA, and then was there another weird thing in here? Hold on. But what do you? The minute I read this part, I thought of Sleuthy's theory right here. Like, oh my god, I was like, see, because how she, one of her scenarios of how that could have got on there, that could have been transferred on there. So, but if that's the case, well, let me think. Is that the DNA on the sheath was placed? Because if that's the case, I mean, they're already aware. Her lawyer and Brian and everybody's already aware who the DoorDash driver is, because, I mean, if he's him, they would already know. Cops, I mean, everybody would know. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess, wonder if they're hinting at that, because that, because he was. But no, I mean, I don't know. Did that make you guys think of her theory when you read that, though? Just this part? To assume is that the DNA on the sheath was placed there by. So they're saying, yeah, what the state's argument asked this court and Mr. Koberger to assume that the DNA on the sheath was placed there by Mr. Koberger and not someone else during an investigation. This spans hundreds of members of law enforcement. Apparently, at least one lab state refuses to name. But then a part of me is like, if he was the DoorDash driver, they would be aware of it. So wouldn't they have, would some of that kind of came out in their arguments for this? Like, I don't know. Maybe not, though. Anyway. Hey, Tracy Talks. Oh, I already said hi to you, didn't I? Yeah. Hey, Wendy. Liberty. Mamma Mia. Oh, bye, Rich. Are you leaving, Rich? Bye, Rich. Thank you again for joining. Yay, for being a member. That was sweet of you. Hey, Meep. Dolly, baby. I don't know. So, we have, yeah, like I said, then we have this whole spot where it doesn't look like there's any towers, which could be an explanation for that too. I mean, I have no idea. Because then we have, hold on, I have this. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Hold on a second. I had the one where I did their house. I put the 4-mile radius of the King Road house too, to kind of see. That's weird. Right here. Because I guess of what, like, cell phone towers could reach it. So actually, it could even possibly get like some towers here. But I know how it ideally works is this is going to try to link to the closest tower is what it does. But then if it's busy, sometimes the closest tower is busy, so it'll kick it to the next tower. But ideally and normally it does. It'll go to the closest one, right? But I mean, you see though, because these are some of the 4-mile marks that of the Pullman. Oh, that's kind of confusing. The Pullman towers. So you could see how that even overlaps with that. So yeah, I'm just hoping at least with the cell phone tower stuff that they have more accurate GPS because of the cast analysis that they did. Because if not, and they don't have any DNA at his house, like the victim's DNA at his house, car, apartment, and we're relying just on the car stuff, the DNA on the sheath. What else? The Elantra. That's about it. Because even when they say that the link in that document makes it seem like they're not going to find a connection. Where is that at? Where is it? Is it here? Hold on. Yeah, there's no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victim, so it makes me seem like there's not going to be, that they never did find one, but so it just makes me a little bit worried. Like, number one, what if they do have the wrong guy, which I still, like I said, I'm still leaning towards it being him. But if they don't have a strong case, then how are we going to convict him too? The jury might find him not guilty. So that's that, guys. ID in the glove, cell phone data, eyewitness. ID in the glove? Wait, ID in the glove. I don't know what do you mean by that? What cell phone data though? I'm hoping they do have like through that cast analysis. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe they do have where they could put his those 12 times. Maybe they can put his car right by the house. I mean, but I don't know even if that's gonna be enough to. Hey, ASMR. Oh, IDs. Is that true though? I thought, I mean, I don't even know whether to believe some of the like the stuff that's like coming from these mysterious sources. Is that, I mean, where did that come from? And has that been confirmed? I remember hearing about that. Well, who was it? What news source? One of the news sources. But to me, I was like, it wasn't. That's not 100% because it was like some source told him. Is that legit? Oh, thanks, Wendy. Tell me more about that, please, because I don't know a lot about that. That was all happening like when I took a break when that first happened, when I wasn't really. I'm trying to get this setting, so hold on one second. Okay, that should be good. Thank you, Wendy. Aw. I'm trying to think who that came from. What news source did that come from? The ID. Oh, I will. I actually slept last night, but thank you. I did sleep last night, though. Look at this frizz, though. Makes me look like I have. It always goes like this. My hair with the static, it goes like. Whoosh. It covers it. Oh, it looks like it's like coming from me. I don't know. I can't. Yes. Yeah. So is the ID coming from like a legit not victim sources? Wait. The ID of someone in the house, but not victim sources. Okay, so who do you think it is? Like Bethany, then maybe? I mean, that is kind of weird, but I don't know. Oh, thanks, Che. What do I call you, Shay or Che? Tell me again, because why am I always like. Yeah, I'll do a poll. Okay. Yeah, I want to know more about that ID then, because I don't know. I remember hearing about it when it, like briefly, that it was like was it News Nation or one of the news reporter source or whatever, and then I feel like I didn't hear anything more about it. But like I said, I was pretty distant from this case because I took a break and. But yeah, let me see. I'm gonna try to do a poll real quick. How should I word it? And I have something in my eye. It's driving my nuts. So the ID was not related to anyone in the house there before. I don't know, guys. I don't. Burt's Bees is the best. Good point. Good point. I was wondering, like, the wording. I'm like, does that mean none? I swear to God, I thought that for a minute, but then I'm like, I don't know. I just get worried me, but that is a good point. I mean, hold on. Let's see the define. Hold on. I'm going to see what that. So you think that they might have DNA like that? So you think that doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't find anything and all that? I hope you're right. I'm gonna look that up. I just want to see. You know what I'll do, you guys? Let me actually even look up that video where they talk about the IDE. You want to watch that just to see? So the definition though of lack of, I just looked up the definition, not having the thing specified. So are you sure, Melissa? I don't know. I mean, well, insufficient or insufficient. So I guess, hold on. I mean, I guess they could. It says lack of insufficient. Something lacks is a noun. There's a lack something. I mean, I guess, like, if you think about it, really, though, in life, when you do say that, it doesn't always necessarily mean zero. You're right. It could just mean you lack it. Like, if I'm like, oh, I lack that, I don't always necessarily mean I don't have any of it. It just means I need more. Like, I don't have a lot and I don't have enough. So, yeah, I could see that. Well, so you think, Melissa, that then that you think there's a possibility that they might have some kind of DNA? What was I gonna look up, guys? I already forget. Oh, I pointed that out. So I think that was right here, odds. I think they purposely used that. Hold on, I'll show you what I mean. I think that was purposely said that way. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Like, I think they purposely put, where is it? Purposely worded, placed on purpose. Like, I think the defense used that word because that to insinuate like it was placed there. That, the killer or Brian or whatever didn't just say drop or whatever, that somebody placed that there, like it was like framed, or even if they're going the route of like maybe, oh, one of the law enforcement people, put it there. But yeah, I definitely caught that, how they use that word, which is a little tricky, or purposely, I should say, purposefully. Because I should go back through all the other documents by the state. I don't think ever do they use the word placed. That's not a word. That's not how they describe it. Because think about it, if you think about placed or put or dropped or was there, like you're viewing it different. Placed almost looks on purpose. Somebody placed it there on purpose, right? And otherwise, it's like, if it was put there on accident by the killer as they're fighting, doing this, it wouldn't be on purpose. They wouldn't place it there. So yeah, no, that was very on purpose. That wording was definitely on purpose. And right here again, the sheath was placed button side down. Somebody just purposely placed it there. So yeah, I definitely saw what they were doing with that. Anyway, yeah. So I know I was gonna look up that video Oh, we were going to go through the rest of the timeline too. Okay, hold on. First, I want to try to find that one where it says about the IDs, the video. Hold on. Let's do, you guys want to watch it or no? I haven't watched it forever. Well, I mean, I want to see how they worded it because I don't, it's been a long time, I feel like. Would they mention? Yes, it is. It really is. Hold on. Let's see, DC. Let me see how they word it. Let's look. Hold on. And another thing that, like I said, is interesting is I want to know, the glove, the DNA found on the glove on November 20th. I'm still thinking that could just be somebody afterwards. But I mean, I'd still be interested to know. And then, like, as far as this, I do think because they don't say unknown, like, I do think it's just probably somebody that knows them, which doesn't mean that they can't be the, couldn't be the person. But like, I'm wondering if it's just going to be like boyfriends or, friends or whatever. So we have that going on. Another thing that, hold on, another thing that I wanted to point out, and I'm going to point out the wording too. Hold on one second. Is right here. Melissa, are you still here? What do you think about this? About how it says, while this was ongoing, police were investigating many various possible suspects. Many of them provided DNA. At least one had his DNA taken from a discarded cigarette. Many also had their phones taken and downloaded. So, like I said, it almost seems like they are saying, basically saying that they, like, what was he denying? This one, at least one person, were they denying giving them their DNA for some reason? And that makes me wonder why. I mean, it could be something innocent, like it could just be because, like, oh shoot, like I'm their friend or I know them or my DNA is gonna be there, but it doesn't mean that I'm involved or who knows. But I do want to know more about that because anybody that's gonna be denying, like not wanting to give the DNA, because otherwise, why would they had to have taken it from a cigarette? Surreptitiously, I looked up the definition of that because they say DNA surreptitiously, taken surreptitiously. So it's in a way that attempts to avoid notice, or attention secretively. So basically, they had to. Okay, so they secretly or avoid, the law enforcement either to avoid attention or secretly took DNA that was discarded from a cigarette. But wonder why they didn't just ask. So I guess it doesn't say for sure that they asked and they denied. I guess I'm assuming that, oh, this person just wouldn't give it to him voluntarily. But I guess there's another scenario that could exist, is maybe they didn't want him to give him a heads up that they were looking into this person, so they did it secretly. But I mean, that just seems like, why, at least wouldn't you think they would ask, unless if, yeah, for some reason that they wanted to keep it on the DL, so they didn't know at the time that they were looking into him. Something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyway, so let's go down to, I'm just trying to point out some of the concerning things. So this right here got me like kind of concerned. A report from an analyst for the FBI dated March 21st shows the analyst heavily relying on a video of a car headed in the wrong direction and at the wrong time on Ridge Road. So we have that. And then the one here, right here. Here's the total lack of DNA. Okay, so there's no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims. There is no explanation for the total lack of DNA evidence from the victims in Mr. Koberger's apartment, office, home, or vehicle. So what do you think? So whoever was wondering about the wording, Now that you see it, what do you think? Oh yeah, yeah. So what do you think though? Yeah, no, you're right, Lucas. But doesn't it make you more curious on who that was though? That denied it, that they had to secretly take it. I mean, it makes me want to know more about it. I'm not saying it makes you think that he's guilty or hit hers, or they said male. Yeah, I'm not saying that that makes like, oh, that means he's guilty, but it just makes you wonder who it was more than somebody that just like willingly. But sometimes people are like these narcissistic types are like thinking that they're smarter than everybody else. So they'd be like, sure, yeah, my DNA, you could have this, I'm smarter than you, so I got it all covered. You're not going to figure this out. So yeah, you just never know. I don't know, DC. My initial um instinct with that was none, but um Melissa Jade, I mean, you bring up a point. I mean, maybe they just mean not a lot. I don't know. No, Lucas, I mean, you see what they're trying to we know that if they we know if that's what they mean, then we know that that means that there's no DNA, but we're trying to read in between the lines and figure out the way they worded it. Are they saying zero, or are they maybe just saying like not a lot? I don't know. Like I said, I know my first instinct was what they were saying that no, there wasn't any. And if that's the case, yeah, that's I was hoping they had at least something else physical that links them besides the freaking car and besides that knife sheath. And okay, and then this right here makes me think those of you that are just coming in, I know I've already talked about this, but people that maybe just coming in, there's no connection between Mr. Koberger and the victims, that they weren't even able to find a connection in all that search on the social media and all the searches they did. But then you could look at it like they don't mean that. They mean more like, direct connection, like they're friends, as far as like, I mean, you could look at that. That's very, I don't know how to word it. I mean, you could look at it in a really vague or specific, or that can mean like many of things depending on, like they could say that and they could be friends on one of the social medias or talked on one of the platforms, and that could still be correct, where they could still be looked at like they didn't lie. So you see what I'm saying? So that might not mean that they didn't find any like weird connection. But it might, I don't know. But I think it does at least mean that we're not going to find out they were friends or whatever, because there's some people that were considering like, what if we find out they were like in the same group, they were friends, but I don't think they were. And I think that shows that, yeah, we're not going to find out that they were, um, but I mean, if you think about it though, since all the victims are dead, if there was, I mean, how do I word this? They would be the only ones that would know maybe some of this stuff. So as far as like, let's say there was some kind of connection that Brian knows that only they would know, that they had some kind of interaction, he could lie about it, because you know what I'm saying? If it helps his case, he doesn't have to be honest about that. And then it could be true, but yet, yeah, he could be lying. Does that make sense? Because nobody else would be able to prove him wrong. Wait, in whose house, Alan? In The King Road house? I think it's worded that way because the point is telling us the prosecution can't explain. Oh yeah, are you talking about this? The lack of which part are you talking about, Tracy? Our concern with this statement. Let's break it into two parts. The part where it talks about the DNA, just this the second part, is that because since we don't have the freaking discovery or the evidence, and they do, so they already know if they found DNA in Brian's apartment of the victims or in the office or home and vehicle. So they're already aware of this, writing this document, right? So what we're saying is, are they telling us right here that they actually they didn't find any DNA at the house and stuff? The victim's DNA? So yeah, we know that, and then they're just trying to debate if that lack of, maybe they're just what that means. Some people in this chat are saying, well, maybe that just means they have some, but just not a lot. That's all. There's just a little debate going on. Now, this other part right here, I was just trying to figure out, shoot, what they, what they possibly mean, like specifics, but we will never know specifically as far as like this right here. Does this mean, oh, when they went through all the internet searches, everything, all the social media, all the different profiles, platforms and stuff, and they were looking for a connection between him and any of the victims, right? So I was just contemplating, does this sentence right here, are they saying that they never found one? But I think that we can't tell with just this sentence as far as that, because maybe they're talking more direct, maybe they're talking about a certain kind of connection, maybe, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think we could at least see that they weren't like friends, or because I know there's some people contemplating maybe they were actually friends. It's going to come out or something, but I never thought that though. I'm just trying to address like everybody else's thoughts that I've heard and stuff, and just trying to like take that all into consideration talking about this, because we have a lot of different people's opinions in here. So, like different theories, what people think. That's all. Hey, Jory, what's up? Wait, Shay, do you mean who wiped his accounts quickly? Like on his side, like he did? Or I remember all those troll accounts. I remember that one of the first days we were looking at, like, I think it was Instagram, and there was like maybe like 6 or 7 or something. And then I went back like what, a couple hours later, there is a ton. Like people were creating them so quick. It's like, come on, guys, stop. What's the freaking point of this? It bugged me, but I don't know. There's supposedly the one. I mean, obviously one of them was probably accurate, so hopefully they're able to. Yeah, they'll be able to tell, because they'll be able to tell when this stuff was opened and how it links and stuff. I would hope the FBI. Oh, thanks, Tracy talks a lot. Yeah, that's cool. I hope, Trey. I hope. So if that's the case, then if they did take it down before the arrest, then think about some of like the big news people that were saying how, oh, he was friends with, or he was following, you know, the victims or whatever. How would they know? Were they just going by one of those fake accounts then? Because you know how a lot of those fake accounts were following him, and then we were trying to figure out which one could possibly be real by different things. So it makes me wonder if they were just trying to like go through those, or did they really have some kind of source that of the real his real profile? Because that's one of the hearsay things that goes around, is how he was following them on certain profile or certain platforms. The whole ID thing. That's what I want to look up. Hold on. That's what I was starting to do, and I got sidetracked. Hold on. We're going to look up that video and see. If you want to. Do you guys want to real quick? You really still can't hear this? And that is so weird how it's like so loud to me and that you guys can't hear anything. That's crazy. All right, hold on. We're going to look that up, and then we can even go over the rest of that timeline. What do you think? All right, let's do about the IDs, see what we could find about that. Just, I'm talking about the videos that were out about it. See what we could find. Okay. All right, let's see what they have to say. This News Nation is what's all coming up. Let's see.
Developments is former FBI Special Agent Stuart Kaplan. Stuart, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you. Thank you, Natasha.
And so I do want to ask what your thoughts are around this ID connected with someone in that Moscow home in Idaho being found in Koberger's property. How big of a deal is this?
Well, there are two explanations. I think the latter is he grabbed something on his way out in his twisted way or in his twisted mind, as more of a trophy type of thing to take with him, or the more sinister and the more concerning aspect, would he have possibly entered into this home at some earlier time and date and grab something unknown to any of the occupants of the house, and that is something that he had on his person or had in his possessions before the date of carrying out these murders.
How common is that kind of trophy behavior in killers?
Very, very common, especially when you are talking about someone who may be more leaning towards the serial type of killer. I know through my sources, they are working very hard now to make a determination as to whether or not Brian Koberger is responsible for other unsolved or cold case murders. So it is very common with respect to someone who has this type of fetish with respect to stalking these type of individuals and then carrying out the.
I'm going to play this other one. Hold on a second. Let me do this one. I think this is when they just announce it. This is when they just talk about it, I think.
Our exclusive details related to the investigation of Brian Koberger, the suspect in the murder of those 4 University of Idaho students. Chris Cuomo reporting an identification connected to someone from the home in Moscow, Idaho, where the murders took place, was found during a search of one of Brian Koberger's residences. In addition to a supposed DNA found on a knife sheath at the scene, that could become the most significant piece of evidence tying Koberger to the victims. And police sources also telling News Nation they have evidence that connects Koberger to what they are viewing as cyber stalking of someone from that same home. Let's bring back in retired FBI agent and News Nation legal contributor Jennifer Coffendaffer. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate it. Let's take these one by one. If true, the ID seems like a huge piece of evidence.
It's
Very big. It's so powerful because now there is absolutely no explanation for why he would have an ID from somebody in that house. And recall on the search warrant, number 35 from the house that was searched of his parents, it lists IDs in a glove in a box, not in a glove compartment, in a glove in a box in the house.
Right. So, what kind of evidence might they have, do you think, on the cyber stalking side of this, and how significant is that?
It's significant to me because what it does is it shows the connection of stalking physically that we know about through the phone pings, 12 of them in and around that house. And now we have possible cyber stalking. Why do people stalk? They stalk because they feel mistreated, they feel persecuted, and that's the same reason they kill. So this is a direct correlation, I believe.
Yeah, and this is the sort of evidence that they can uncover in a whole variety of ways, right?
So is it true or not?
They've done a full digital analysis of all the phones, and specifically of his phone. There's going to be a treasure trove of information from those phones. We saw it in Murdoch. We're going to see it in this case as well.
Phones, his computers, any place he had access to it, any place he might have logged in. Very much appreciate it.
Okay. So, but I want to know if that's true. We don't know if that's true about the IDs. I don't know if I can't believe it though. Like how do we know that's true, guys? All right, let's do hold on. Let's see what this was all about. Hold on. All right, hold on one second, guys. I'm going to play another video.
To these charges.
Brian Kohberger stood silent during his arraignment on burglary and first-degree murder charges. His lawyer explains why, as the prosecution confirms publicly for the first time that genetic genealogy was used to identify Kohberger as a suspect and that the DNA in the case is a statistical match. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks for joining us here on Law and Crime. Brian Kohberger faces burglary and first-degree murder charges for the deaths of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin last November in an off-campus home in Moscow, Idaho. We've known since Kohberger was charged last year that prosecutors claim DNA found on a knife sheath on Maddie Mogen's bed was 99% likely to have come from a child of Kohberger's father. But prosecutors say further DNA testing has revealed the DNA found on the knife sheath is a statistical match to DNA collected from a cheek swab of Brian Kohberger.
Basically, that's just fancy terminology for they got a DNA hit. And with DNA, it's not just one test, boom, they got it. There's always a confirmatory test, a second confirmatory test that gets done. I think it's more of a procedural thing.
James Bogan is a defense attorney who's followed the Idaho 4 case. The revelation about the DNA being a statistical match came in a prosecution motion asking the court for a protective order on the investigative genetic genealogy techniques used by the FBI in this case. The motion is the first time the prosecution has acknowledged publicly and on the record that investigative genetic genealogy was used to find a suspect using DNA found on the K-bar knife sheath, which prosecutors now say was found partially underneath the body of Maddie Mogen and a comforter. James, what do you make of the prosecution seeking a protective order for this investigative genetic genealogy material?
The state says in their opening paragraph they're seeking to protect the names and personal information of, they're saying, hundreds of innocent relatives on the family tree, and the names of the publicly available genetic genealogy services used, and certain other information that's described in the motion. It's quite a lengthy motion. Now, I could see wanting to keep innocent parties out of public record for a criminal case, but obviously, what you're always concerned about as a defense attorney is you want to be able to look at everything that could be relevant to the evidence in the case.
Another new wrinkle in the case.
Your Honor, would ask the court to set this trial at the very outside of the speedy trial, right? We're not prepared to do anything but ask the court to do that today.
The defense is asking for a speedy trial set for October of this year, despite receiving mountains of evidence from the state, with much more to come. Following that request for a speedy trial, which is Kohberger's right, his attorneys now want to stay or delay the proceedings because they can't reach an agreement with prosecutors on what material they will be given from the grand jury proceedings. Grand jury proceedings are secret, with prosecutors presenting evidence to obtain an indictment against a defendant. Prosecutors used a grand jury in Kohberger's case. The defense asked for a speedy trial in this case. It's set for October 2nd. Now they're asking to stay the proceedings, saying, we can't get the state to agree to give us all the grand jury materials that we want. So the state is now saying they oppose the motion for a stay. What are your thoughts on that?
That's pretty interesting. Well, the state, I'd like to see how prepared they are, but usually when the defense wants to move for a speedy trial, they're trying to pressure the prosecution, but it can be a double-edged sword because it can leave you with less time to prepare, and there's that chance of being found ineffective, but ineffective assistance of counsel. But the other thing too is generally you're not entitled to stuff from evidence presented at grand jury. You're entitled to stuff that falls under Criminal Rule 16, which is evidence that would be presented at trial and any exculpatory evidence. But things like grand jury testimony, we're typically not entitled to that unless what happens is it comes up at trial where you ask the judge to do an in-camera review of the prosecuting witness's testimony to see if there's any significant differences. And if they are, then we're entitled to that. So we can use that for cross-examination. I've had that happen before.
Much was made about Brian Kohberger standing silent when he was asked to enter a plea to the murder charges. His lawyers say in a new filing that they did that because they may want to contest the indictment. They believe the grand jury process may have been flawed and want to determine how those grand jurors were selected. It should be noted that the bar to obtain a grand jury indictment is very low. Kohberger will be back in court next week as his lawyers argue their motion to have grand jury material.
Okay. All right, so that was just one of the new law and crime videos that came up when I put in the ID stuff. So what do you guys think? I want to make a comment on something that somebody said in here. Hold on, let me find it. Oh, if you look at his car in the video and pull it over. So do you think, okay, so you don't think he cleaned it like right after, possibly? Not the outside, because I don't think he would have needed to clean the outside of, let's say if it's him and that's, his car. Do you think he cleaned the inside of his car right after it happened and then just cleaned it again when he got to his parents? Like, let's say if this is him, this is the guy, let's say Brian did it, wouldn't it be reasonable to think that he would clean it a couple times? Like, I'm sure, like right after it happened. And then when you have a chance to really maybe thoroughly clean it when people aren't, you don't feel like people are watching or whatever. And that's when he like made sure, like really cleaned it. Maybe that's why they didn't find anything in it, because he cleaned it maybe even more than twice. I mean, do you think that's a possibility? I only bring that up because I've heard a lot of people use that as a, or just say that statement, how like if he was guilty, he wouldn't have waited till he got to his parents' house to clean his car. But I just think he could have cleaned it more than once, in my opinion. If it's him, I would think he cleaned it more than once. So I would think he cleaned it at, before he went to his parents too. But I don't know. It's just an assumption that I'm making, if he did it, he would have definitely cleaned it multiple times. Well, I want to see if I took these pictures that I want to show you. Hold on one second. Let's see if I got. Sorry. Oh, I don't think I have them. I wanted to show you something about his car. Yeah. Oh, well, I'll have to just show you some other time. Because I was trying to, so basically I was trying to get a good look at his car. Because look, if you go, it sucks because all the freaking body cams, it's like, you can never get a good look at like different parts of the car that I really want to see on Brian's car, because there's like, the main differences is when you like the dates between, hold on, let me make sure I say the dates right. One second. And I'll see what you guys think. If you guys can maybe help, but I don't think you'll be able to, because I think I've went through all the footage. So just give me 1 second though. All right, hold on. Okay, so all right. All right, so if you look at the different cars, so the best footage I could get from to see like a good view of the outside of his car from all the body cam or the police stop body cam footage. The best one is from here. I'll show you. It still makes me mad because it's like I want to see further up on his car. Or does anybody have a good picture of his full car? Like his specific car? Now that I'm thinking about it. Do we have one when he's at his parents' house? Here, I'll show you the only one that I could find that has. Here. Wait, tell me real quick, is there sound on this? Wait. Is there sound right here? I'm just asking because I'm curious on how I saved it. Oh, you heard it. Okay, cool. That's crazy. So if you go to the East Idaho News video, Oh, wait, hold on. I think I did get a good. I showed the front. I'm trying to look at the lights because there's certain parts that are different between the 13th when you switch over from how they said, oh, 2011 to 13th, and then his being the 15th. There's like from switching from like a 13th to the 14th, 15th, 16th. And there's certain parts there's some parts, I mean, they're very similar. Most of them are like so similar. They look pretty much exactly the same, but there's a few distinct things that look like a couple things that could be different, right? Which confuses me because why didn't they just open it up then? Why, if they weren't sure, why didn't they just open it up 2011 to 2016 to begin with? Why did they shut it off at 2013 and close it? But I'm sure there's reasons, and hopefully they'll answer. But anyway, so my point was I was trying to look at his car, his specific car, to see if it has that difference for sure, and just kind of compare what the 2011 and 13 would possibly look like compared to his car, right? Because I wanted to get a good look at the front, but unfortunately we don't. But that's about as close as we get to the front, which I wish I could get a little bit better angle on the very front, like right here, but we don't. We have a lot of the back of it, and that's not the part where it could be different between the years, if that makes sense. I just want it because if you look at the back, it looks exactly like the 2011 to 13 on some of them at least, so I could see why they would say that. But then why not just open it up to other dates? I don't get that. Like what made him so sure that it ended at first when they said 2013? What made him so sure that it just only goes to 13 if it could have actually went to a higher year? Do you see what I'm saying? Why did they cut it off there? Was there something they saw in those surveillance that made it think that it's not it's not past to 2013 because of this feature? And then what is that feature? And then so I'm just trying to get the front because the back looks just like what you would think, right? Anyway, but do you guys have a picture of his car on the front by any chance? Oh, that's another thing. Good thing. That's another thing I wanted to point out. Hold on. That was another thing when I was actually going to make a short of my car thing because I wanted to point that out. Thank you. I got caught up with this other part that I forgot to point out while he's traveling. Yes, where are you at? Wait, hold on, let me find this comment. Oh, where is it? I don't know, but whoever said about him tailgating, he isn't. So when I watched this, because I was watching, first of all, just having my own footage files, and then like watching, I forget who was the first I watched. But then I didn't watch East Idaho News one until I don't know when I saw it a couple weeks ago, whatever. And then look, they're the only ones that actually has the very beginning, at least that I've seen, that's out there. Right? So he's not, look. He's not riding too close to them. Unless if he was doing it before and then they just waited to pull him over. But well, I mean, I would have gotten pulled over. I would get pulled over a million times because I don't think that that's following that close. So no, good point. Whoever said that, good point. I can't find your comment now, but thank you for reminding me. I wanted to. And Petty, I get, okay, hold on. I get that you don't have to have the exact car. You can look at the dates, and I've done that. But I just wanted to, I'm just like the type, I just want to make sure that maybe there's something with his car that he got some certain kind of style or something that's not coming up. Just to know the exact freaking car. And I know you could just look it up and that's what we're going to have to do. But I just wanted to see his, that's all, because I'm just that type of person that I want to just see the exact person's car that they're saying that it is, and that they are saying that this is the car they saw in the surveillance that they thought was a 2011 to 13. So just the type of, that's just how I am. Sorry. I know you don't need to look at different cars that are that year. I just want to know. I mean, I just want to see it and then do it. I just want to see his car. Cause like, what if, you never know. What if he has something, he put on the front, like, light thing that was because it broke, or that makes it look different, or you just never know. There could be specific things you just never know. I just want to see his car that they supposedly are saying is the one that's on the surveillance that they thought was 2011 to 13. But we might not be able to actually have it. So in that case, we'll have to go by just videos that are pictures of cars that are that year. But I'm just like that. That's all. That's all. Nemeg! Shauna! Oh, there's new documents that came out. That was the main thing we were going over. They responded to that, to the, lordy, my brain is all scattered. The defense responded to the state's request for, the protective order. For the IGG information, they responded. So we were just reading that. Spicy lady, yay! How are you? Nick, what's up? Anyway. So let me take this down. Hold on, there's actually a, yeah. All right. So let's, so if you go, hold on, let's just do this real quick. You know what I'm going to do? We have his VIN number and stuff. Like I discontinued my, service to like look up, that kind of stuff where you have to pay for it. So I could just get it again. So I could like I'd be able to look up the exact car, but it still doesn't beat you actually having the car in like such close time period to when it happened, and like having a picture of it, because what if there are some things about it that make it unique? Because what if it wrecked, or he got a new this or that, or he did something to this part of the car? You just never know. I don't know. I'm weird like that. That would be ideally, in my opinion. All right, so let's look up. I'm gonna do, hold on one second, guys. I'm just gonna get a screenshot of a couple things so we could look. Hold on one second. My thing isn't working. Come on. Huh. Oh. I guess we'll have to do it like this. All right. That's what, 2013. Hold on. Mm. Oh, here it is. Okay. Just give me 1 second, guys. I just want to. Because I just wanted to see before anybody tells me that it's been done and everybody's done it months ago. I know cases are, we're going to have to go over things more than once, and it's fine that people have already talked about it before. I'm allowed to talk about it now. I know, guys, you guys are awesome. It's just that one person that always makes me like doubt, like, oh, like I'm not allowed to talk about it because people already talked about it. Even if I talked about it before, I could bring it up again, right? So, all right. Let me share my screen. Who's all in here? Sean, Nick, how is everybody? So what do you guys want to talk about tonight when I do it when you guys are my test subjects? When I do the live, and I'm probably do it in, what time is it? 10. And I'll probably get off when I'm done with this real quick, get a little snack maybe, and then do it. You guys could help me, like I'll be testing out like different things. There's like little games on Streamlabs. And is there any like topics you guys want to talk about? So those of you that are new, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my other channel, Zavgirl live streams, so go check it out. Because I haven't done much on it, but what I'm going to do is use it because I'm trying to learn a new streaming program because of that glitch of I guess the reason that I'm having this delay just to share different screens. It's because this thing I've talked about a million times, but it's not my fault. It's this thing that's going on with my computer that won't let me. It makes me do things manually every time. So Streamlabs, I'm able to do that, but it's a lot more in depth of a program. And like that. So I'm trying to learn it. So I figured, hey, I could go on my other channel and try to just like mess around, and I don't have to have so much pressure of like, making everybody happier or talking about true crime. I could just talk about whatever. And we could talk. I would like to talk about cases, but we could talk about whatever. And then I could try to figure out some things with you guys on what settings and how to do certain things on it, if that's okay. So look for that though, you guys. If you're not subscribed, I mean, I guess you don't have to. I mean, I don't do much on it, which I would like to start doing more on it. If I start getting these files and stuff that I really want to try to get going on my channel, I will have enough maybe content and stuff that maybe I will end up using that channel. Maybe I could do it for like random things, So yeah, go ahead and subscribe, guys. The link is actually in the description. It's in it just automatically loads in my descriptions for every video I have. So like I said, it's just going to be a random live. It's going to be a new program. So it's going to be like a testing type thing. So, Anyway, so the main thing that I see is this little thing right here. And that's why I'm trying to get a better look at the front of his car, just out of curiosity. But then, okay, so then I'm thinking, okay, maybe they did just weren't able to see that area that good, or somehow the light's glaring, so they thought it was like more look like this when it looked like that. But then, I mean, that makes sense, right? But then it makes me think, well, then why didn't they just open up the dates? I mean, why did they stop at 13 if they weren't sure because of that, and they weren't sure that it looked like this or that? Then why didn't they just do it to 2016? So that confuses me. I could see them just not sure because of the surveillance and it being at night, maybe not being able to see parts of it. But then why limit the years if they weren't sure? That's what I don't get. Anyway, so I was just trying to see the front of his just to see, you know? So, but you can't, you see like from here. You'll see the closest you see is, hold on. Right, like the furthest up you could see. It's like you can't see that part. Hmm. Okay, we could look at more of it though. That was the part I wanted to try to look at, but and then the back, the back. So this is what, the 2015. Let's look at the, or I might have said it backwards when I was explaining what that would look like. Sorry if I did, but I'm just saying I wanted to see like that part. So this is supposedly what? A 2011, right? Yeah, this is a 2011. Okay, so his is the 2015. But if you look, I want to see the back because the back of them are identical. I feel like that between 2011 and 2015, they look exactly the same. I'm pretty sure so. From like, so I think it's just like the front. Are we, is there maybe, hold on a second. Oh, wait. This is the 11. Let's see. No, that part's different too. The back, those. So, but the front, I just really want to see the front of his just to make sure. But everything else. It's those little. Anyway. All right. Let's do shoo. I don't know how I got there to what we were talking about. We weren't even talking about his car, were we? Were we? Yeah, that's what I want to see. Hold on a second. Let's do 13. Yeah. I want to see if that's different, the back, or if they're all, yeah, it's pretty much the same. Okay, so it's two little spots. You got the back and then you got the front, but I could see like at night, surveillance, the glare, depending on what angle they got, I could see them not seeing those things. I could see that, but I just don't see why didn't they just like put that then? Why wouldn't they said, they're thinking, okay, those Hyundais, and a couple years from the 2016, they're very similar. Just those little things are different, but you can't even tell on these surveillance photos because the glare and the lighting. So it could be that too. So let's just make it from 2011 to 16, right? But who knows? Anyway. All right. So what I was saying before that is, what do you guys want to talk about on our fun thing? We don't know. Don't know. Supposedly they have all those camera. I mean, they have more than one because they have like the passes, King Road 4 times. That's all based on surveillance. Because when he's in Moscow at the time, during the murder time, that's when his phone's off. So those are all like surveillance that they have of him. So they have to have multiple surveillance of him. So they probably do have multiple angles, but remember, like at dark, it's going to be dark. If there's light reflections, the light from the cars, it's going to be like not a perfect images, right? But no, they should have multiple freaking videos, right? And then somebody even brought up, what if they actually, I mean, they might have, I don't know, with the glares though, like be able to see inside the car a little bit and see him a little bit. I'm not sure though. I feel like that might be tough because I don't know. That'd be hard at night with the glare. I don't think you would see much, but I guess it just depends just how the light hits whatever, if they had, who knows. Yeah, and what about the Gonzalez family on that interview with I think it's the one with Olivia, right? What about them saying that they seen the girls walk in at 1:56 because they're the ones that said, oh, their timeline, like law enforcement's, the authorities' original timeline was kind of all messed up. They basically helped put together a good timeline, and they help with some stuff at the beginning. They're the ones, I guess, that got the food truck video, or was able to just help the timeline of where they were and get some information. So they said at 1:56, they saw them walking in through the ring camera. The girls. Did they see anything else in that camera? What door? Like, what door would they have came in on? And then what do we know about, like, what they're saying that supposedly, like, how the murderer got in or out? If they're able to see the ring footage and they're able to see Maddie and Kaylee walking in, were they able to see the killer at all walking? Which I don't think so. I really don't think, because if that was the case, they would have known like more information earlier. But I don't know. I'm trying to think how that would have worked. If he was all covered like a mask and had, basically no identifying features because he was all covered up, would they, I mean, they still wouldn't have been able to tell who he was or much about him. But I don't know. I mean, maybe the killer walked in a different door and it was out of the sight of the cameras. But it just made it does make you think like, wow, you were able to see that. But I bet you, yeah, I bet you he used the back. If he went in the sliding door and went out, so I wonder if like he went in and out of the same door, and then maybe they went in the front door. And then he went in the sliding door, so maybe the Ring camera didn't pick him up. That's probably what it was, huh? Because they went in that front door. You see what I'm saying? So it didn't pick up whoever the killer, because the killer went in the sliding door. I'm guessing. That's probably. Anyway. Yeah, it could be. After that, these documents today, it makes me think that it wasn't DNA. I mean, they didn't link it to the victims. No. Oh, yeah. Like I said, we don't. They should have multiple camera shots of the car. Otherwise, then they're lying about being able to track them through surveillance footage, right? So they do. They have a bunch before they ended up linking it to the GPS. When his phone turned back on, then they were able to track him, and it matched up or whatever, supposedly. So yeah, they should have multiple snapshots of or videos. Basically, they would be videos of his car. Helen, what up? Yeah, Jory, what's up, Dory? Soul, what up, what up? Aw, cool. Happy birthday, Grandma. All right, guys. Oh, huh. I'm still hoping that they have more than what, than just that, just the few surveillance videos and then the DNA on the sheath. I hope they have more, like more big stuff. It's like, whoa. All right, let's see if there's anything more interesting in this that we could just go over real quick. So we have Kaylee buys her Range Rover. This is where we picked up. So she buys her Range Rover. Wait. I don't know. What's this making me? Oh, that's the one that wasn't available. That's right. Huh. Veterans Appreciation Dinner at the new ICCU Arena main campus. 5 to 8:30. What's this? Why does that keep going to this? Huh, okay. Veterans Appreciation Dinner. So this is Friday, November 11th. Huh, okay. So that was the week, yeah, the parents' weekend. Night Pi Phi party. But formal. Kaylee is Dylan's number 1. 11/12 WSU Parents Weekend, day 2. I'm hungry now, guys. Yes, I'm still here. Where are we at? Kaylee posts her very last Instagram post. Photos of all the roommates together. Ethan caption, one lucky girl to be surrounded by these people every day. Oh, it says together plus Ethan, and she captioned that. Idaho Vandal Jacks, Lumberjack Classic, chopping, crosscut saw, chainsaw events, axe throwing, choker race, obstacle pole climbing. So it's at 9 a.m. And then at 10:31 a.m., Maddie paid Kaylee with a note coffee. 10:59, Ethan paid Kaylee with a note thank you. 11:10, Ethan paid Kaylee with a note yeah. Oh, Kaylee was just buying everybody. She probably bought everybody like coffee and stuff. Here's the Venmo. Oh, it doesn't. This is Venmo. Okay. And 12:30 WSU versus Arizona State home game. 2:30. Kaylee called her mom after sending pictures and telling her about how much fun she and Maddie had at the Pi Beta Phi party last night. So Kaylee called her mom after sending pictures about how much fun she. Oh.
KRISTIGONCALVES. Yeah, I'm Olivia Stevenson, ALIVEA STEVENSON. Gonzalez is my maiden name. I'm married.
My name is Tammy Butts, TAMIBUTTZ.
Good. You guys good?
Why they?
Everybody good?
On here?
Which one?
Yeah, because I will have to run it over here.
There you go. Okay.
You gotta get it right. Don't get mine.
I think we got it on the pickup. Good. Okay, so just first off, the map that just came out from police, it gives a little bit of a timeline of where they may have been that night. Does that map mesh up with the timeline that you've been putting together?
Yeah, I'd say it's very close. I'd say if you have any closer details to kind of hone in, 145 could be very vague. Maybe it's closer to, 150. Let us know if you have anything concrete, because right now concrete's what we can go off of.
In terms of the details, you said it's close. Mm-hmm. Does that frustrate you that it's close?
I do, but right now we're still trusting authorities that, it's not going to be 20 minutes here or 15 minutes here that's breaking this. But yeah, I implore everyone, if they know something different, bring it to the police, because if they want to tighten up that timeline, we stand with that.
It seems like there's this very big gap when it comes to Ethan and Xana. Mm-hmm. Do you know where they might have been?
I don't, unfortunately. I know nothing about them.
We have no idea where they were, but we do have a pretty tight timeline on Kaylee and Maddie, and it is close to what they are posting, but it is a difference, and that difference actually could be huge. I mean, it could be, it could not be, but 145, 159. So there is, and we have corroborated with my phone records, Kaylee's phone records, the driver that was driving them around.
Yeah, so you
really
have
concrete.
You have pulled video seeing the
Mm-hmm.
Uber driver dropping them off.
Yes.
You've checked your phone records. You know
Yes.
timestamps, what
Yes.
time they got home.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what police are saying, right?
Right.
It's not 145.
Kaylee and Maddie were picked up from their home at 1122 King around 10:15. It's about a 5-minute drive down. So they arrived to Corner Club around 10:20, which is different than what was released at 10. We know that Kaylee called for an Uber at 1:45. He arrived at 1:49, got in the car around 1:50. It's about a 5-6 minute drive. They arrived home at 1:56.
Is it frustrating that your timeline is based on timestamps from videos and phone records, and their timeline doesn't exactly match yours?
I just feel like there's a reason they're just putting it out, the estimate. I don't know, because they do have that information from us, and they've asked us where we have gotten that information, and we have concrete backing. She put it together.
It could be conflicting stories. We just don't know. This is the information I stand behind.
I think that when they say 1:45, I think they're kind of referring to the whole group arriving approximately 1:45. I believe that maybe Ethan and Xana, and I don't know, may have gotten home around that time. And then the girls, obviously 1:59-ish is shortly after. So they're just kind of grouping that the group arrived home around 1:45-ish. But they were not together. And we don't know anything about Ethan and Xana. We do know about Kaylee and Maddie.
And some of the time stamping afterwards, that your sister was making calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was making calls as late as almost 2:00.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
So she was on my mom's cell plan. So
we pulled my cell plan.
On Sunday, I was able to pull those cell records.
And you could see that she was calling somebody out.
Yeah.
Does it seem like they may have been involved, or does it seem like
No, not at all. Kaylee had no shame in kind of power calling. So it fits Kaylee.
Yeah, no, yeah. And we know who she was calling, and this person is, and this person was asleep, unfortunately, was not getting the calls. And it was, I don't know, a few calls between for half an hour. She called him a couple times, but no, it was not, we do not believe she was calling him for help. We believe that she was just calling him to come over. If Kaylee was in imminent danger, her or Maddie, they would have called 911. They would not have been calling this person. Yeah.
And that was around 2.
Yeah. So at that time we
Started
believe
around 2:30.
yeah, we believe that the girls were just fine.
I don't know. Do you guys want to watch the rest of this or go through the timeline? This is like 18 minutes. Let's see what else the timeline. I wouldn't mind watching this again, but I want to maybe go back to it. Let me see what else we have. It talks about this was under the Kaylee called her mom after sending pictures and telling her about how much fun she and Maddie had at the party. Final Vandal football home game. Ethan makes Venmo payment to Jack with a note, saying thanks. Bethany observes Ethan and Shanna at the Sigma Chi house at 7. Kaylee and Maddie are observed on the CCTV footage inside the corner club. Officer Tesdall and Officer Rosendahl on Deacon Avenue with male and female that were walking. Kaylee and Madison are picked up from their house by a private party. I want to see if this is linking to the same interview. Is it because they're all, let me see. Hold on, I just want to see. Yeah, okay. So a lot of them. Okay. Hold on. Kaylee and Madison are picked up from their house by a private party driver, Eric Grower. Oh, I missed one. Officer Rosendale on Deacon Avenue with male and female that were walking. And this is part 2 or day 2 of WSU Parents Weekend Day 3. Xana speaks to her father, Jeffrey, for the last time, and he states that she told him she was hanging out at home with her boyfriend. Dylan and Bethany arrive home at 1 a.m. So that 12 a.m. is when she said she was hanging out with her boyfriend. Xana. And then 1, Dylan and Bethany arrive home. 1:30, Kaylee and Madison seen on Twitch live stream at Grub Truck. 1:45, Bethany estimates that Ethan and Xana return to the King Road. So 1:56, a private party. Eric Grower reported that he dropped off Kaylee and Maddie at their King Road residence. Both Dylan and Bethany's statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of King Road were all home at this time. And then 2:26, Kaylee's first call to ex-boyfriend Jack. So that was 2:42. Or wait, hold on. At 2:26, for the interviews that indicated the occupants of King Road were all at 2 a.m. Yes. So at 2:42, BK's phone using cell resources at his residence. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all this. I'm sorry, guys. It's really good though. If we ever have like a question where we need to use it as a source or to help, definitely something we could look into. Or All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go eat. I am hungry. Thanks for hanging. Hanging. Oh, look, here's my double take. Hey, guys. Do you see me over here? What's up? I'm in both spots. It's so weird because it's like, hi. I'm silly. So yeah, let's reconvene here in a little bit. I can't believe it's already 10, but I really want to get this figured out with Streamlabs. I want to be a pro at it. So therefore, I'm not limited anymore, and I could just bring up whatever I want. I don't have to stop it and come back, stop it and come back. If I can figure out this program, I won't have to do that because I won't have to do it because I know how, it's this StreamYard glitch. So there's two options. Either I take a chance. I need to get a new computer. Get a new computer and hoping that glitch isn't still there, which it should be all right. Or try to learn Streamlabs, because either way, I want to learn Streamlabs because it's cool. It has that game we could play. It has a couple games. I just don't know how to do some of the other ones. The other games, but that's what I want to learn. And then it tells me if somebody subscribes, it makes a noise. Remember the dinosaur comes up? It, what else? It does something else. It tells me like members, you could set goals. Like it could be like members try to get like 100 members in a month, and then it'll keeps track for you. And I can have it up where it shows you, and it keeps track. I could do that with like super chat or whatever. Just it's kind of like a fun thing. So if I could figure it out. Hey, Crystal, what's up? So yeah, I'll let you know, or just keep your eyes open. See, the only I want to say like subscribe to it so then you know when I'm going to go live, but I don't want I don't want you to subscribe and then it's like I don't do that much with it. But but who cares? Subscribing's free. So therefore, even if I don't do a lot of videos, you won't even realize you're subscribed to me unless if I'm like uploading things. And if I am, then I'll be active. If not, you won't even know. Does that make sense? So yeah, go ahead and subscribe because I'm going to try to do more stuff on it. Jumpasaurus. Yeah, me. Thanks, Big White Horse. Dark Sea, I can't wait to get. Oh! I got my treat box. So, did anybody else order it? I'm gonna be getting one from Dark Sea though, from Australia, and then I got the one that from the treats. I have to get the link out. I get it like almost like every other month. They change like the country. So I have that. So I might do it tomorrow with a live. So help me figure out tonight what case to do it, like what to do it with. And I want to do that with a case because since they're sending me the box for no charge, I want to like hopefully be able to help them where people would want to buy it, and like because it's cool, and then you guys could eat it with me. And if I just like do it like for like if I just put like just trying to treat back and having fun, then not really. I usually don't get that many views for that, so therefore it'll lessen the chance that they'll want to keep sending me these boxes, because if it isn't worth them to send it and it's like no views and they don't get any orders, I don't know if they'll keep sending it to me. I don't know. So I want to do it when I'm talking about a case where at least I'll get some views, So tomorrow I'm just trying to decide what case to talk about tomorrow while I try my treats. So let me know if you could help. She Builder, what up? What up? No, but I need to get a P.O. box. Why? Who wants it? Depending on who it is, sometimes I will give out my address, but I do need to get one, a P.O. box. You're right. It's trytreats.com. It's called trytreats.com. But if you're going to order something, just use my link, my affiliate link, and then you put zavgirl and you get 15% off. Affiliate here. Maybe I could just try to here. I'll get you my affiliate link. Hold on. Here's one. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm going to copy and paste this. So here is actually going to be in my description on my other treat videos, and then when I do it, also your exclusive coupon code. Okay, hold on. Here, that should be everything. So that's the see. Make sure that link works, because make sure you order it through the link. So don't just go to that web page and put in the discount code, because then the affiliate link doesn't work. So you have to link, which will be in the description of the video, which I just sent it. Order it through the link, and then because it's too late now. Okay, well, I have a question. Did anybody order it recently in the last week when I asked that you want me to wait till you get yours? Because otherwise it's a little bit too late, because it takes a little bit for you to get it. So it's a little bit too late for you to get it to try it tomorrow with me. But if you want to try it for the next month, just wait till tomorrow if you want to order it, if this link doesn't work. And then the link will be in the description, and I'll probably share it when I do it tomorrow, or whenever I do it, where you have the link and stuff. But I did just send it, so I don't know. Hopefully it will work. Let me see if it linked. I'm not sure if it did. Did it, guys? Because I just copied and pasted it. Let me see. Where is it? I can't find my wait. Oh, yeah. It didn't. Figures, it cut off right where the link is. How funny is that? Hold on. Here's okay. I think you have it, Shauna. Thanks. You got so it's this, right? Let me see if this works. Let me make sure. And then once you type on the link, then put zavgirl for the coupon code, and it'll give you the. Yeah, it worked. Okay. So order it through there if you're going to order it. So anyway, yeah. No, I can't pick the country. It's just whatever they're doing. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to eat. So just look out for that. Thanks, Shauna, for doing that. And yeah. Then tomorrow, we may get some coffee. And comment, guys, what you guys think of this. I know I love that there's like a mixed people like that feel strong on both sides of this Brian Koberger, and then you got people in the middle. I'm in the middle, I would say. Like if I had to pick, I'm like in the middle, leaning a little bit one way. That's it. But I love how we have like a lot of mixture of people in the chat. Now, if I plan something this week, I should just do that tomorrow, but no, because tomorrow I'm hoping to do the treat box, so I'll have to do it by myself. But gosh, I feel like Sundays would be a good time to do an open panel and get a lot of people, huh? I just want to do a good discussion about this case, but I want people to come. Like I want like a bunch of people to like come up on panel. When would be a good day? Like within this week, I want to do it. Where like we have like people waiting to come up, so it's like 10 minutes maybe each person or 20, and just go through and have like a bunch of different like thoughts, theories, opinions. I don't know. I think it could be fun. Oh, thanks. Learn to grow 2023. She Builder, Heavenly, what up? Go Batman is always our superhero here. We have unsolved cases and news. Oh, thank you. You are the best. Zeke is sleeping right now. I get him every other night. So usually on the nights I sleep with him, I'm going to bed super freaking early, or sometimes I skip my day because, if I don't sleep or if I'm working late, then he's already in bed. But he's so cute. I had him last night because I slept good last night. I actually was going to try to stay up like almost 2 nights. I was going to stay up again or at least late last night and work. I was going to try to, look into new cases, but Zeke wanted to go to bed. And I'm like, shoot, I could either give up my day or I could either say, okay, I'll get him later. But then chances are sometimes if it's like I'm up late, let's say 2, 3 o'clock or whatever, 4, and then I go and get him, he's all cozy in bed and I get him for a couple hours. Then my grandma gets up at like 6 to 7 anyway. So then he's going to hear her up. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be kind of pointless to have him for a couple hours. So then I'll just get him the next day or whatever. But yesterday, so I'm like, oh my God, okay. So I know what I'll do. Remember, I was super tired because I was up all night. We did that live the night before. So I'm like, okay, I'll lay with him and I'll just like kind of like be on my phone and like research on my phone and just look into cases, just watch some videos or something. And when he's really like falling asleep and he's out of it, I'll like maybe sneak over to my desk and work. I ended up passing out. I was like passed out, so that didn't work. All right, guys. See you in a little bit.